Welcome back, everyone, to episode 110 of the Popcorn Podcast. I'm Tommy. Of course, Ryan is here with me. And our guest this week is, in my opinion, and Ryan's, the best Spider Man variant there is. He has over 2.6 million followers on TikTok, 64,000 on Instagram, and in pre production for his first film as the iconic web slinger. We wanted to thank Jeremy DeRoma, and welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you guys for having me. What's up, everyone? This is going to be my first time on their podcast, and as you heard, we're talking about the Amazing Spider-Man. I'm really excited. And you also heard my name. My name is Jeremy DeRoma. I'm from California, and most people know me as the International Spider-Man.
And yeah, I mean, you're extremely well known on TikTok, millions of followers. You have some of the best Spider Man content out there. And just following you from on Instagram, getting to meet you at the Spider Man Lotus premiere, which was a pretty cool experience for everyone, I think. And yeah, reading into your short film, or fan film, I'm sorry, as Spider Man got me really excited since it does dive into the mental health and suicide prevention, as we had just wrapped our first short film, which follows in those same discussions.
Got it. Got it. Wow. That's it's really good to hear. Yeah, my film, there's a lot going on right now in my own life where we've actually had to delay pre-production, unfortunately. And as we get into the holidays, like every year, the holidays just go by like that. We're looking to get into pre-production officially early next year. Um, yeah, so I'm excited for that too.
Yeah, and I think something really cool that you're going to be doing with this one is taking the story as Ned Leeds as Spider Man and not going the traditional route, which most people follow, which is Peter as Spider Man.
Got it. Yeah. With that, there have been a lot of people asking how it's going to be. And I've formed this in every single aspect of it very intentionally. So I'm going to be really excited to actually talk about it. So I'll talk about it as much as I can on here.
Yeah.
But every single part of this version of Ned Leeds is going to have personality for specific reasons, and it comes from his origin story. And I'm saying it on here for the first time. We are going to have an origin story, and we're going to have our own original origin story as well. Um, for those of you that don't know, my movie is going to be a Spider-Man movie, but it's going to be a mental health movie first. Um, and for those of you that have been following along but don't quite know, this storyline is inspired by my own personal story. As many of you, I've loved Spider-Man since I was a kid, but a lot of times people that dress up as Spider-Man, especially, like on the Hollywood Walk of Fame or whatever, can ruin that illusion for kids, especially if they're trying to, just ask for tips and whatnot. But 4-year-old me knew that if anyone can do it, anyone will believe it. And yeah, I had the chance to do that going into TikTok 2019. Really didn't expect it to turn into any of this. I don't know if you guys know, but I hid my face for 4 years,
Really?
and yeah, I stayed in
Wow.
character, hid my face for 4 years, and because I care about that accuracy, my whole idea was I wanted you to feel like you can follow Spider-Man on social media in real life, not a cosplayer. So I really didn't associate with the whole cosplay community until pretty much after my face reveal, um, which is very interesting. It's a different story though, but I blew up mainly because the accuracy, and then it took me 2 years to hit a million, but it took me 4 more months to hit 2 million because I guess because of that accuracy, I changed my voice to sound like Tom Holland Spider-Man. I walked, ran, stood like him. Unintentionally, half my audience was convinced that I was Tom Holland doing this for fun. Yeah, so it's been a journey, but this movie will be inspired by my own struggles with suicide, and yeah, it's not only time that I talk about it, but for my own reasons, this movie will be the art piece, and basically the book will be closed on this part of my life, and I don't have to be attached to it.
Yeah.
I'll be able to detach from it a little bit and move on to the next step in my life. And if we ever want to refer back to it, that'll be it. I don't need to reiterate it, talking about it all over again.
That,
and also to help people that are currently going through it, of course.
Of course.
dude, that I mean, it's amazing. Your content is incredible. The accuracy. I saw your recently. You had the video of you standing like Tom Holland, kind of making fun of his stance, and I think it's such a funny video because he does have that strict posture that he has. So it is so funny that you followed this for so long that it kind of became like part of you to be Spider-Man because you weren't showing your face. You had to act just like him. So I think it's just such a crazy, amazing form of art and filming that most cosplayers don't ever go that level because you weren't really cosplaying, you were more living it. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's great.
I believe it's called method acting.
Yeah, I guess yeah, in a way, method acting. But yeah, with you talking about the going into suicide prevention, all that, that kind of going back to what we were making, me and Ryan's short film was about an actual day I had in my life where I kind of was making choice after choice after choice. If like, am I going to go take my own life? Like, is this what I want to do? So I kind of use that, as you're saying, as like closing a chapter because it lets you therapeutically be able to relive those moments, but at the same time know that you're
Yeah,
past that and you're able to look back on that and not have go back into that loop that I was going through at least. So I think it's amazing what
right.
you're doing with the Spider-Man character and bringing it with your own life and mixing with the superhero. So I think it's just incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, like I said, I'm really excited for it, and if not anything, I hope this film just helps people. Um, and I guess I will say this for the first time. So it'll be on your podcast officially. Um, his friends, and I'm not saying who's going to be in it, who's not going to be in it, because I'm excited to officially announce that too. But his group of friends that he has, they will have their own struggles and stories as well. That'll definitely, it won't be all focused just on Spider-Man himself. You know, everyone goes through something. Everyone goes through something different. And we've seen a little bit of that from other characters in his life in the past. So, yeah, we're going to dip into it a little more than some other iterations have. And we're probably going to have our own original storyline as well.
I'm so excited because I've been following the Instagram page for I think I've been following you for about a year now. Before like anything, like
Oh,
even
wow.
thinking about having you on the show. And then I remember I saw you at Lotus and I was like, I think that's International Spider-Man. And then you came up and we had met by accident. Like I shook your hand and then you said it. I was like, oh my God, it is International Spider-Man. And I was like, it was like a really cool moment for me. And I know anyone that's gotten to meet you're extremely nice and knowing your story and everything like that. It's just super impressive. So yeah.
I really appreciate it, man. I didn't know you were following me for that long.
Yeah. All my
Sometimes I'll
personal
meet
account.
people and they say that.
Yeah, I mean, and then on TikTok, of course, you have millions of people that watch your stuff daily. I mean, it's incredible. Like we think this is like big for us, like people but you have millions. It is an
I know.
insane number, and that you're using it for positivity and not because we know the people on TikTok like to do the thirst traps. Just want people to watch their stuff. There's no actual meaning behind all of it. Don't laugh when I say that,
Right.
but
It's just funny
Substance.
because the one TikTok you made with your face in it started off by, I know this looks like another fuckboy post, but I promise it's not. I'm going to review the menu. It's so funny.
but
All right.
yeah,
Well, I do have one little notation. It's funny. Um, I've never said this before publicly too, but it's funny. I have a personal account. Some people know it. It is private now, and if you find it, you find it. Whatever. Personal TikTok account. When I first started Spider-Man, I started my personal page because I was like, there. Sorry, I was like, there are. It was very new on TikTok. So I was like,
yeah.
there's some things that I can't do. This was before anyone thought I was Tom Holland. Just to the whole Spider-Man character, I was like, there's things that I can't do that I shouldn't do, and there's things that I want to test on this page, like trends, sounds, types of styles of videos. It was really just for fun. I literally only had like 12 videos on there. And my friend from that I've known since elementary school, he was like, dude, like a lot of people are getting back into Asians and anime is a huge thing now. And he was like, if you make a thirst trap, you'll fucking go viral. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I don't think I want to do that. I'm good. Thank you. I appreciate the compliment, but and he kept bothering me about it, and I'm like, dude, like why? I don't know, but I was like, fine. I budged, and I made like one video. I know I made two for sure, but I don't know like how far apart. But yeah, I made one video, and I went from 12 followers to 12,000 followers,
That's impressive.
and it was back for those of you that are watching that are trying to grow on TikTok really hard. It's if you look at my TikTok now, I'm barely on it. I'm more on Instagram because the algorithm is just so different now. They stopped catering to big creators. Different styles of videos are just not working anymore. I don't even know what to do anymore on TikTok, but it was so easy to grow back then. Again, this was like 2019, 2020. Um, yeah, I slowly started to get like really uncomfortable comments. So I stopped that. I was just doing it to see what would happen.
Hey, I mean, you got 12,000 followers, which
Yeah.
is pretty insane for one post.
Right.
But yeah, moving away from Jeremy's thirst traps, if anyone wants to go find them, they're probably out there somewhere. We'll repost them on the
I challenge
TikTok.
anyone to find them.
Yeah, we'll find them. We'll get our research team in on
Good
it.
Colin to cut him in.
Yeah, we'll have our editor edit them mixed in with this video. But moving on to our
We interrupt this
topic.
program.
Moving into the topic of this episode, we're here to talk about both The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And before I let anyone talk specifically, Ryan,
Yeah.
I just want to say from my perspective, Andrew Garfield is the best Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man 2 has some of the best Spider-Man sequences of all time. And I love Amazing Spider-Man 1. They are my favorite Spider-Mans. And I will stick to that till the day I die. Before Ryan gets to answer, I want to hear your thoughts on them, Jeremy.
Okay. If you want to hear all my thoughts, this podcast would be 5 hours long, so let's not do that. I will give bits and pieces here and there. Starting off with everyone watching, everyone that even talks about Spider-Man, especially because of how social media and how people are conditioned in this generation to think that they're so entitled or to think that whatever they say will always be right. And a lot of people are quick to jump to initial reaction, and people are communicating less and less effectively nowadays. And I realize anywhere, again, mostly on social media, if people ask the big question, who is the best Spider-Man? And again, I'm only talking about Tobey, Andrew, and Tom, cinematic wise. You see that a lot. But people answer different questions, different versions of the question. People will answer who the best Spider-Man is, who the best Peter Parker is, who the best actor is, who's most comic accurate, when most people that I see haven't read all the comics, and I haven't read all the comics. I honestly wasn't even huge on comics growing up. I have some, but I never was like a collector. But even then, so I can't speak for comic accuracy on every little aspect, but even if I didn't, there's a version of him now, then, in the future. He's a person. Like, yeah, he's a character, but he's been in high school. He's been in college. He's been older. People change, you know? So people will answer different versions of the question. And as for the Amazing Spider-Man series, they'll say how good it is, but they'll answer how it is cinematically, story-wise, character-wise, action-wise. A lot of people are like, oh, if it entertains me by action, that's all I care about. I care about like the substance. You could have a Spider-Man movie with no action, and if it's good, it'll be damn good, you know. So yeah, that's my initial thoughts on that question. I wanted to address that because I've never actually seen anyone say it that way. So for anyone watching, maybe that's something to think about. Maybe how you ask the question, how you ask someone specific that question, or how you answer that question. Because now that I think about it, before I thought about it that way, I would answer the question in my own opinion, who I think is the best in only one surface level aspect. And as I've gotten to think about it more and more in this way, I have two parts. My first answer is that overall, they're all the best in their own aspects. Like they really are, and I'm sure a lot of people can agree with that. Um, and as for people that really hate Tom for certain reasons, we'll get into that later. If you really think about it, you can see what Marvel's doing. Marvel has their own. They had their own thing with uh, Tony and Cap for 10 years. You know, they had that arc. They both had a character arc, and now that they're gone, Spider-Man is huge, and they wanted to do it younger this time because they've had Spider-Man at the same age the past two times. If you really think about it, I've seen a contract that probably shouldn't have seen before. I don't even know if I should be saying it. I don't think I can get in trouble for it
Yeah, no,
because I'm
definitely don't
not
worry
like
about it.
associated with them. But I saw a contract that they wanted. This was back during the Homecoming era. They wanted Tom for 3 trilogies: 3 in high school, 3 in college, and 3 as an adult. And if I stand corrected, we've had his trilogy in high school, and I mean, yes, we're on the third movie, but they specifically called it a trilogy themselves. Tom, Zendaya, all of them, as they've said, this is an end of an era. They didn't say why, and like I know it's also because no one really knows who Spider-Man is now, but they're treating it as a trilogy, and I think I've seen Amy Pascal talk about it at the premiere, that they're looking forward to the next trilogy. I don't know if that's her confirming it, but to me it is, and
Yeah.
I'm really
Yeah.
excited about that. So with that said, with Tom's version being so young and irresponsible, and a lot of people have come to realize just recently that, oh my God, these 3 movies were just an origin story. I like that because life doesn't move as fast as movies in general. So I like that they took the time. I like that they started him younger for the same reason they started the way they did with Iron Man and Cap, is because if you start him off way down here as an irresponsible, childish kid, he has so much room for growth and mistakes and to become the underdog and to end out triumphantly, So now that I think about it, maybe he will be the best Spider-Man to everyone eventually. Yeah, because
Damn,
I'm really
that's a-
excited.
Yeah.
That's a take. I like it though. Coming out swinging. But yeah, no, I mean, there is all the different ways that we've looked at who's the best, because there's always that argument that I feel like probably is the most common thought process, is that a lot of people like saying Toby's the best Peter, Andrew's the best Spider-Man, then Tom's good at both, and that makes him the best.
Yeah.
So I know everyone has that opinion on it, and I
Mhm.
just know I love all of them. I didn't love Tom Holland till the newest one, so I was one of the haters, and I'm sorry, Tom Holland. I take everything back I said, because you're great. And I love all of them. It's just I don't know. Ryan and me talked about this earlier, and I think I've said it 100 times. I just think I have like a deeper emotional connection to Andrew than I do the other ones. So I think I'll always hold Andrew in a special place. And crying at No Way Home was
We'll get into that later too.
yeah. We'll dive into
Um,
all of this.
So yeah, I mean, before we get into anything else, yeah, I hear that a lot. I'm sure everyone else hears that a lot. Toby's the best Peter, Andrew's the best Spider-Man, Tom's the best at both, and that's also subjective, but it's pretty common from what I hear. Um, yeah, but as you were saying, with you being like a kind of a Tom hater, unfortunately, do you want to get into that part now, or is that a specific portion for later?
We can hop into that now.
That's on you. That's
I'm not. I'm not. I know all the Tom Holland stands will be in our comments, so
Yeah.
I want everyone to understand. I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. It took me a long time. I just had my own subjective idea of what Spider-Man is and who is Spider-Man, and it just took me a little bit. I love Homecoming. I will always love that movie. I just had my own thoughts, and they were all. I took back everything after No Way Home. So I do love Tom.
Got it. Okay. I mean, yeah, this is your podcast. I don't know. I'm sure you guys knew or planned that we were going to talk about all 3. I don't know if you had a certain plan for that or if you wanted to go in order. I don't know. Up
Our
to you guys.
podcast kind of just
Yeah. Okay.
everywhere.
Cool.
We kind of mix in whatever we want to
Take
talk
it.
about.
put as much shit as
Okay.
you want. I don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah, if you want to call
All right.
us out on something, be like
Yeah.
you're wrong. That's fine.
Feel free.
That's what me and Ryan do for the last 110 episodes.
Cool.
But,
All right. Yeah. So from what I hear about Toby and Andrew, Tom, kind of with what you said, I thought about that too. and formed my own opinion on that way of saying it. To me, because for those of you watching, I'm 23, so I grew up with Tobey. There's a lot of people that are my age. Unfortunately, I have a friend that didn't even know there was a Spider-Man movie until Tom Holland.
Oh boy,
That
that is
I
rough.
felt kind of offended, and she has a little brother, so I'm like, how did that not ever come up? But I watched the Spider-Man movies as they came out. I remember being 4 years old, going to the theater, watching Spider-Man 2. I remember getting a gold heart pin for like charity or whatever. I think I still have it somewhere too. I remember that. Clearly, I don't remember the first one. It was 2002, for God's sakes. But
Yeah.
yeah, I watched them. I grew up with Tobey. Those movies mean everything to me. And I think of it in every aspect. And I watch them now. They age like fine wine. There are some certain aspects to where we can get into that later. Spider-Man 3, some things don't age well, but for reasons. The movies itself, the tone, the writing, the intention, all of it, the emotion, all of it ages so well. I will watch those movies over and over, and it ages well. And there's one aspect from that trilogy that did stick with me, is that unfortunately Tobey's acting, in my opinion, was kind of bland.
Agreed.
But it worked at the time. To me, it didn't age too well, but it's not the worst thing still. But now, if you think about it in their world, a nerd back then in the early 2000s could be exactly that. So, a lot of people now judge those versions of Spider-Man way too harshly, in my opinion. Again, it's subjective, so I get it, but I think it's way too harsh nowadays. And a lot of people don't realize too that Tobey Maguire's movies, when they came out, mostly the first one, kind of was nostalgic for the fan base at that time. Because if you look at the time period, it's in modern time, but everything in that movie is kind of still from the 90s. So I don't know if they did that on purpose or I don't know, but I think these movies are also made for its time period. People need to remember that too. Andrew's was, especially the Oscorp part, was a little futuristic in my opinion, but it's a superhero movie, whatever. And if you were to be a nerd in 2012, just because you skateboarded, you weren't cool. That doesn't mean anything. I wasn't deemed as a nerd back then, but I thought I was nerdy. I was into superheroes and stuff. I wasn't the nerd that Peter Parker is. I wasn't all about school and whatnot. But yeah, there was a lot of people that I knew at my school that were deemed as nerds, and they skateboarded to school. So, and that version of Peter Parker with him skateboarding was also kind of just from Andrew Garfield being a skateboarder, and he brought that in. So I think that's really cool too, because it brings some originality to the character. Okay, as for Tom's part,
Oh,
here we go.
When I saw, actually, there's one more part from going to Tobey and them planning to reboot to Andrew. It came out 2007, 8, 9. They announced it 2009, I think. And for those of you that don't realize, YouTube started in 2008, so media wasn't a huge thing back then. And especially even for the older kids, not all of us had smartphones or whatever, I just remember my uncle, he was like, oh, you want to see, they released pictures of the new Spider-Man movie. I was like, no way. I want to see where Spider-Man 4 is going. And then he shows me Andrew with him. Remember that where he figures out he has powers on the train and then he runs home in the middle of the street at night? Yeah. The teaser was him on that same street, but damage in his suit from Oscorp. You've probably seen that picture, but yeah, that was the teaser that it showed, and I was like, what is this? My 8 and 9-year-old self didn't realize what a reboot was, and it's not like they inherently or purposely planned for Spider-Man 3 to be the last movie. So it took me some time to get used to it. When I first saw The Amazing Spider-Man, it was actually my grandma that brought me to the theater. I lived right across from a movie theater before, so I grew up watching a lot of movies. She brought me, just me and her, and that last swinging scene when he webs at the camera, and then the music just, blares triumphantly for the credits. I was in awe. I was in shock. And as much as I miss Toby's, that, oof, man, it hit me. And then throughout the years, I realized like Amazing Spider-Man 1 was kind of, some things were weird in my opinion, and I'm sure to the creators too, because going into Amazing Spider-Man 2, a lot of things were changed. The music was drastically changed. There's, as much as I love the first Amazing Spider-Man music, the score, some parts seem a little not dark per se, but I could see where they were leaning into the creepiness of a spider aspect, and it's great. But it was probably time for him to grow up and officially become that Spider-Man instead of him building himself into it. So the music is different in the second one. His style is a bit different. Obviously, the suit's different. And yeah, it took me some time to get used to Amazing Spider-Man 1, Amazing Spider-Man 2. When I first saw it, I remember I went with my 3 friends and my mom, and this was in the 4DX seats before anyone had them. It was called the D-Box at the time. Literally no theaters had it. So we watched at the movie seats. And man, when that scene with Gwen, like this was the first movie that I cried in. Not only in theater, but I think the first movie that I've cried in. And with how stressful that scene was, especially building up to it, I remember like getting a headache from the stress by the end of the movie. And 2014, I was 14 back then, so the movie seemed perfect to me. But yeah, I see now, especially, I see as a filmmaker where, like a lot of things are messy. I still agree with that. And for those of you that don't know the production side of these movies, a lot of things don't happen the way they originally planned to. Things are changed on the spot. It's not always up to the director. And Avi Arad, which I'm sure you guys know about, being the producer of Sony, has messed up Toby's Spider-Man 3. And he literally did the same thing with Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I thought you would have learned by then, but
yeah.
I think I don't know him. I don't know exactly how they all did it. I don't know how control he had, but it seems like that he thought it would work. So because it's different this time, they could make it work. I think it was worse in my opinion this time. And the same thing with Spider-Man 3. Like I know that Sam Raimi amazingly did the first one, and the second one kicked the first one's ass, like perfect. And for those of you that don't know, Sam Raimi, the director, didn't really know Venom as a character, so he didn't really want to do it. Avi Arad pushed that on him, and I don't really know how or who decided to do the new Goblin, but that was cool in my opinion. It was original.
I like the new Goblin.
Yeah. But yeah, the whole Venom thing is like probably people's main issue. Because the Sandman thing, I haven't heard complaints about Sandman. They did really well too. Yeah. And for me to care about the more emotional and substance side of movies, because a lot of people don't realize the Spider-Man story is a drama. It's about him, like Spider-Man 2, not being able to catch a break. So the Sandman part, when they ended his last scene talking about forgiveness, that's deep, they ruined Spider-Man 3, of course, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 with that. But then, like I said, going into Tom's, when I first heard about the reboot, when they first announced it, everyone was going crazy, like, oh my God, he's going to show up in Civil War, we were all getting excited about that. My best friend at the time kind of looked like him, and a lot of people were like kind of poking at him that he looks like him. He doesn't really, but he has a resemblance. So I was 15 at the time. I was aware what a reboot was. I was devastated that it wasn't Andrew. But I was excited because it really seemed to be super hyped up. And I was like, oh my God, it's this young kid that looks like he's my age. They're probably going to put him like as a freshman or sophomore in high school, which they did. But as for my thoughts on Tom Holland's movies, when I first saw Homecoming in the theater, right when it cut to the credits, I was like, holy crap. This is the best and most fun Spider-Man movie ever. Of course, it's first time experience. As we got into Far From Home and not quite yet No Way Home, I formed stronger opinions that he was extremely irresponsible and that I can't look up to this version, so it made me like him less. And it's not like he tried. I guess they referenced Uncle Ben, so I would think that he would have some sense of responsibility or guilt, right? But I don't know, because they didn't talk about Uncle Ben. They didn't talk about exactly what happened. I hope they talk about it more in the future. But yeah, I couldn't really like him anymore. I couldn't look up to him, because that's the Spider-Man I want. That Spider-Man that I could look up to, not just be entertained by. And then as we went into Far From Home, it was a fun summer flick, but that's like one of my least favorite Spider-Man movies, in my opinion. Yeah, Far From Home, like, for that movie to have a scene where he's like, look at the baby mountain goats, and everyone just like
Thank you. I do
looks,
not like that movie, and
everyone
everyone says
falls
it's
for it.
wrong.
Yeah, that
Everyone
part is
just
very
falls
dumb.
for it. Yeah, I'd like it. I don't even know if I just cringe or I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't like it.
No,
Um,
my main issue is I don't know if I'm in the if there's a hot take. I don't think it is. I hated that they tried to act dumb with the whole Mysterio thing,
yeah, that
and like
too.
it
That was
really bothered me. And I was like, anyone who's ever read a comic book knows Mysterio is not good. There's not a single
Mhm.
person who's a comic book reader that's going into that thinking, "Oh, this is new, like superhero." No, yeah, I don't know. I don't like the movie. I've never liked the movie, and I stand by it most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was a fun summer flick. I'll give it that. And if for anyone out there that has arguments, throw it in the comments. I want to see. I'm not someone that wants to argue just to argue. I want to debate to see if we can come to a better conclusion. And if it gets intense, cool. I just don't want anyone to take it personally. But I want someone to change my mind that that's a really good movie. If they want to. Um, and it's John Watts writing that's kind of, Ferris Bueller and Breakfast Club type of vibe. And I get it for the high school aspect, but in my own personal opinion, Spider-Man is still a drama story. I don't think it should be that. But the fact that they're really focused on originality here and making a trilogy into one origin story, and then the contract that I saw and my theory of, like, him growing and becoming the best Spider-Man to everyone later on, I laid off a bit. So I trust in Marvel not doing what they did again. As we can see, Sony's trying to do their thing again. Avi Arad, I don't know what he's doing. That's a different conversation. But now that Sony and Marvel are like sharing Spider-Man, like, I know they're not going to mess this up this time. I mean, it could, but I doubt it. I highly
We
doubt
hope they don't mess this up.
it. I hope,
Avi
yeah,
Arad he's a poison to superheroes.
yeah. So
He's
that's my
every
whole thing
superhero's
going
weakness.
into all 3. Mhm.
No, we watched TASM 2 today, and again, I'm as much as I hadn't probably watched the movie in whole in a good probably 5 years, like from beginning to end, no cutting around, because I probably cut around probably twice a year,
Wow.
3 times a year, but
Mhm.
it definitely didn't hold up as well as I had been telling people for years that
Mhm.
it's a top 5 Spider-Man movie. But with that being said, it has some of the best scenes ever in a Spider-Man movie.
Mhm.
Just the movie in a whole, Avi Arad. It's Andrew stepped forward and said stuff about it. We know Mark Webb has had his very outspoken about it. William Spencer, who we had on the show, even had his thoughts about everything.
Mhm.
So I don't trust the guy. I don't like what he does with the Spider-Man characters. Venom 2 is That's a whole another 2 hours I could
Whole
go on.
conversation. That's a whole podcast in
That is a
itself.
whole other podcast to do. But no, I love Andrew. I think him and Emma Stone are the saving grace of that franchise. Without them, there is nothing was in that franchise to hold. I'm sorry, Sally Fields, the love of my life. I will love you forever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's
Ryan,
another thing that people don't commonly talk about. Sally Field as Aunt May, man, she was like, I thought the first Aunt May was good. I'm sorry to Rosemary Harris, but like, wow, like amazing.
I love Sally,
Like,
so
yeah, I
I
love
was
her
defending
so
her all
much.
day today.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ryan,
I'm
what are your?
surprised though.
Oh,
I'm surprised that you know, loving the Amazing Spider-Man series so much, and Andrew being your favorite Spider-Man, that it's been this long since you've watched it. I'm surprised.
I think it's because I know deep down it's not as good as I was telling people, and I was like, just watch the scenes I love so much. But
Got
I
it.
mean,
Okay.
don't get me wrong, it's still a lot higher on a scoreboard than most people would ever put it at. It's just
Okay.
I'm 22, so I grew up with Toby, of course, and
Yeah.
I've told this on the podcast. My grandma bought me Spider-Man 3. Well, she pirated it off some guy in Philly, and when she gave it to me, we put it in. It didn't even release yet. It was like a week out in theaters, and it was all in Spanish. There's no English, but it was like
Oh,
dubbed
that's hilarious.
over really poorly in Spanish, and it was horrible. And then that put a sour taste in my mouth. Saw it, hated it as a kid.
Oh,
I didn't even like it when I was little, and to this day I don't like the movie. I don't think it continues the story that the first two did so well. I think it's like it's like falling off a cliff drop off for me.
yeah.
So I hold that movie with deep distaste. And then Andrew got announced. I was like, oh, okay, something new. And then my poster, the greatest poster of all time.
Dude, I love that poster. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
It is so cool. And I remember
That was
just
my
being
wallpaper on my old ass HTC Android in 2012.
and I just remember being so unbelievably excited. And I was like, okay, this is my Spider-Man now. And the first one I went and saw, and I think it's one of the few times since, like, besides being a little kid, that my mom and dad took me to see a movie once I got, like, a little older. And I walked out, I was like, that's the greatest Spider-Man movie of all time. There's no beating it. I was like, Amazing Spider-Man 1. And then I saw the second one and cried for 2 hours, the Gwen Stacy. And I still cry every time I watch the scene, except for today. I didn't cry for the first time, I think, ever.
It's true.
I probably should have watched the first and second one yesterday or today before the podcast.
It was a
Marinate a little bit.
I was sitting. I was like, "Oh God, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry." But I still think the movie, as much as there's some scenes that are just so poorly written, but I know Avi or however stupid Avi.
Wait, sorry, we're talking about Spider-Man 3 still?
Oh no, TASM 2. I was going into.
Oh, okay, TASM 2. Okay.
As much as I love this movie, and I think the suit, no one will ever beat that suit. There's just some scenes that are so bad. And the writing is so poor. And it's because they went and rewrote the entire script like a month before production started. They went back and redid everything. Andrew Garfield said the first script for TASM 2 was the best thing he's read.
Right. And it turned out to be something that I forgot exactly what he said, but he was disconnected from.
He didn't love it. He's said multiple times he's like, so much stuff had changed from what we worked on, because he didn't get writing credits, but he had worked on like the rewrites the first time when Mark Webb was just writing it. And he was like, I felt personal to me. The Gwen thing was hit. They weren't going to do Gwen. Then they were doing it. Then they weren't. Then they were. Then they weren't. And he just said like eventually it lost like the fire and like the love for it. And he's like, it just became something completely different than what I ever wanted to make.
More commercialized. For those of you that are watching that have probably never heard this before about The Amazing Spider-Man 2, after I say this, go rewatch it with what I said in mind. I noticed, especially as a filmmaker, what scenes are Mark Webb and what scenes are clearly Avi Arad. So if you haven't realized, go back and watch it and you'll see, and that might make you like the movie more. It might make you understand why the movie is the way it is, why it failed, why people love it so much, why people hate it so much.
Ryan, how about you? What are your thoughts on the TASM universe?
Listen.
Oh God, that's never a good sign to start with.
Good movie.
Wait.
Good
I'm sorry.
movie.
Hold on. Sorry to interrupt you.
fine.
Here's what I'm gonna do.
Oh,
Go ahead, Ryan.
Oh God, PS5 asshole. God damn it. Both of you have one. I can't get one. God. All right. The Amazing Spider-Man movies. Where do I begin?
start with the
How about
first one.
how about begin at the beginning?
Yeah.
I have never, nor probably will I ever, care about Peter Parker's parents. I just got to say it now. It is what it is. They tried to make it a thing in this movie. Avi Arad tried to in the second one, which was god awful. But in the first one, we get, the scene in the beginning where they have to leave, and I just never cared. It was never important to me that Peter Parker's parents even existed in the first place. He has this wonderful aunt and uncle who, half of which are terribly ripped away from him. And that's Peter Parker's story. I never cared about his parents or any sort of plot he had with the Osborns. It just never interested me, and it still doesn't in these movies. So
But the Osborn storyline is in Toby's. His
yeah, no,
association
no,
with
his
them.
parents.
No, he said not the parents involved with the Osborn.
Yeah.
Like he worked with his dad.
Mhm.
I mean, I like that, but now that he says that, like, I kind of agree with him. Not that I don't care, because I'm always interested. Because that was one thing from Toby's that I was like, they never mention his parents. They don't have to make it a whole
Yeah.
thing, but they never mention it. So
Mhm.
Ryan, maybe if they did that, if they mentioned it, if it was part of the first movie but never its own story, do you think that would have been okay? Or you really
Maybe. I mean,
don't
they
want the
have
parents to be
mentioned
in it
it.
at all?
Yeah, I mean, they have mentioned it in like the comics and stuff. And I'm not a huge comic reader. I'll just say that. I'm not going to lie and say I've read all of
Okay.
them. But
Right.
yeah, I still think it just doesn't matter because it's more important his relationship with Aunt May and Uncle Ben. It's never been important
Yeah.
his relationship with his parents.
Mhm.
And especially if the parents are only going to be in a little bit, then it's just wasting time at that point. You know what I mean?
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was telling you today. So the original plan, you can find anyone who wants to. You can find snippets of the original script online. A lot of the writers who have worked on it have came out and talked about it. The original plan was the opening scene that everyone dislikes. I even dislike. I don't like the parents on the plane. I think it's kind of pointless to the story. It should have opened with his suit and him falling out of the sky, which I don't know. I assume he jumped from a really high building because you just start and he's falling, which I love. But
Wait, I've been seeing a lot of that recently. Like, I feel like that's something that should be like, just accept it. Like, not just accept it, but just enjoy it for what it is. The fact that he is falling, and they had to do it a little higher because it comes from the spider and then into him skydive, like falling. Like, if we did that sequence transitioning into his back spider lower to the ground, it wouldn't have been as cool. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like even they weren't like, oh, we're having him jump off a building, jump off a helicopter, like nothing.
they're like,
Like
just
that's
watch.
Yeah.
that's not something that's should be focused on. Or
Oh no, it doesn't. No, I
cared about,
think
in my
it's
opinion.
beautiful.
Yeah.
But the original,
Yeah.
I was as I was saying, the original script. So a lot of people, if you haven't seen the scene I'm talking about, please go and watch it. So there's the plane scene, not very good, very pointless to the story. There's a deleted scene of Peter meeting his dad in a graveyard. It's
Oh,
one of
wait.
the most well-acted scenes in a superhero scene of all time. That was the original script. He was supposed to see him at the end. There was supposed to be nothing. The train stuff was supposed to happen, which I know Ryan has his own thoughts on, and that was supposed to be the end of the movie and setting up another movie. There was not supposed to be a plane originally. There was not going to be anything about the parents' death. If they died, no one knew, and the dad was supposed to show up. They cut the scene. I was very sad because I have acted out that scene in my basement doing laundry 100 times, and I still love it, and I think it should be in the movie. And everyone, if you haven't seen it, please go watch it. It's the deleted scene, TASM 2 Graveyard. It's amazing. It fits the moment, and yeah.
Have you seen it, Ryan? I'm assuming you
I
have.
have. It's
Okay.
a pretty good scene.
What do you think about that scene? Not compared to the movie, just the scene itself.
Yeah, I think just like straight up as a scene, watching it as a YouTube video, fantastic. Well acted by both of them. It's really, really good. The only thing is, and this is something that I can't complain about because we never saw it, where was it going? Like, was it in the next movies? Where is it going to keep going on and you find out maybe where the mom is?
I
You
think
know,
the mom-
that's my thing is that like, where was this going? I kind of want to see
Like,
more.
was he
now
going to start
on it,
living with the dad?
but- Yeah, but even that, like, Doesn't what's gonna happen? Is he gonna move in with Aunt May? Like what? Now what? I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't thought about
Kinda-
that, but I
I don't
Or
mean,
know.
maybe he just goes to
I,
see him to let him know he's okay, and like
Maybe.
he needs someone. Maybe he needs his dad at that moment. He just lost the
But
love
then
of
that
his
would
life.
be like the biggest ex machina ever. His dad
Right.
shows up for one scene and then
No, I
disappears
think he'd
again.
show up again. Maybe the dad has info about he created all those suits.
Yeah, it could
in
be.
Sinister Six.
Yeah, it could be.
Something
that'd be
associated
cool.
with
Yeah.
that. I
For
love that.
anyone
You're
else
the
watching, I'm
second
interested
person.
to see what. Sorry, what? Go ahead.
You're the
We're
second
overlapping a
person
bit.
of our last 3 episodes that's had TASM 2 on in the background.
Yeah, it's true.
And I love it because whenever I'm not talking, I just watch the movie. It's so nice.
But yeah, for everyone watching, that has seen that movie, and if that scene was in the movie at the end, or in a different version of the Amazing Spider-Man 2, if it was done a little better, where do you guys think that would have gone? Because I've never had anyone ask me. Ryan, that was good. Good thought process to see where it would go after into the Amazing Spider-Man 3. Because yeah, I can't really come up with a solid answer for you, honestly.
Yeah. And they could have
I
done something
love
really
that
cool,
scene.
but just
Yeah.
unfortunately never know.
hmm And like you were saying, like you said, you've acted out that scene multiple times in your basement. I've done the same thing, man. Like
It's
with
an amazing scene.
just some of my I sometimes I enact that scene when I'm just really hurting and I'm watching the movie and I feel like I need to let it out, but I can't like actually yell right now or whatever, or it'll help me get into an emotional part of my character when I'm shooting a clip for TikTok or an audition or anything. But yeah, I've done the same thing too. I also have. I grew up without my dad, so yeah, that hit hard too.
Yeah, I mean, anytime anyone, I feel like when you can get that emotional connection to something, if you lost a parent, if you were raised by a single mother, single father, it definitely will hit harder than someone who was raised with both their parents. And I feel like that fits for any kind of movie. Like everyone has that moment or that movie that they can watch and be like, this is part of my life. Like I know what this is going through. And it makes those
Yeah.
movies hit harder. And I think a lot of time makes your entertainment and how much you like the movie a lot more. Am I saying that right? I feel like it was the dumbest sentence I've ever said.
Yeah, no, I think that's reasonable.
Your
Like how
overall
much you
experience and
relate to the
connection to
movie
it.
influences how much you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Makes the
going back to
experience
the
better
Gwen
for you.
Stacy. Oh, what was that? Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry, I don't mean to ever talk over you, but I can hear your voice on Ryan's end first, ironically, and then you, clearly.
Oh, we'll just move further.
So that I'm trying to time it. I don't know. Yeah, so
No,
if I ever
sometimes
interrupt you,
that's
I'm
fine.
not doing it. Just yeah.
sometimes we pick up on each other.
Oh,
What I was
okay.
saying was when we went to film our short film, I had to play a really, really sad, depressed character, and that's part of my life is over. The depression, all that. I'm a lot happier now, but I had to get back into that kind of mindset. So Ryan's idea was to put on the Gwen Stacy death right before we started filming the movie, and he was like, "This is how we answer," and it worked. It definitely put me in a sad space. But yeah, that scene has a unbelievable hold on me for just emotions, and it's probably the first movie I cried at, and it's probably the movie I've cried the most at, just because I think I love Gwen Stacy and I love Emma Stone more than anyone in this world.
I love her so much. Their chemistry is just top notch.
Okay,
Ryan, what do you think about that? Huh? Go ahead.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
So you know the scene in the park when they're talking to each other, just Gwen and Andrew?
When they get frozen yogurt and they're walking.
Yeah,
to the
when they
park?
get frozen yogurt.
Uh-huh.
What are your thoughts on that scene?
Interesting that you ask, and I'm wondering why you're asking, but we could probably put it in the background without audio, but I've actually reenacted that scene on TikTok. I'll send it to you guys so you can see it. As a scene in general, not being a Spider-Man movie, as a scene in general, it's very grounded, it's very sweet, and it is very realistic in my opinion. I've had that interaction with one of my exes actually. And with me having to reenact it just to remake it for TikTok, I felt it, like the way he would just anxiously pick at his yogurt and take a bite when he's not talking and try to, he would tease her a little bit, kind of like with their ground rules, and I re- that's completely realistic. Trying to keep up that loving, playful part of you, but also being really anxious meeting up with your partner again, and yeah, and then when he kind of slipped with the whole, "Oh, I know you love that place, you love it," and she was like, "That place just opened." And he was like, "Yeah, you told me. Like I've gone through that. It's funny. It's realistic." And with his reasoning and the way he said it, I've said that I've gone through that too, and that was very sweet for him to say that. It's the closest that I can come to being with you, and to make sure you're safe. I could see where some people are like, "Ew, that's stalkery," but like, come on, like, that's
I think it's beautiful.
that was his. That was his girlfriend. So yeah, I think the scene is very sweet and perfect in all those aspects. And then it leads into his spidey sense, which I love the sound effect for Andrew's spidey sense. Yeah, just his reaction and like really gazing confused into the distance. Like I was ready for some musical build up there. I was excited. And then he starts talking and his freaking shoes are there and his clothes are hanging. I thought that was funny. I think the theater like chuckled a bit in my theater when I first saw that. But yeah, I mean, as for that scene, like I don't see anything wrong with it. And if someone wants to ruin that for me, sure.
Ryan, you want to give your thoughts on it?
Ryan,
I can do.
Let me pull out my notes.
So to just agree with you, first off, I think it is a well-acted scene. I think, obviously, Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield were dating at the time. So, yeah, they have great chemistry. They were together for 6 years. But I think that scene just, it never feels super... Maybe it almost feels like too natural to me. It feels almost like Mark Webb took Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield and just said, go to the park and go on a date and just enjoy yourself. And they just had the camera there. Like, they're whispering, they're saying the same lines 3 times over again and just whispering to each other. It's not bad. It's not. But you call me cynical, call me heartless. I can't stand watching it. I want to go to the next scene. Just have a lecture show up again. I just like, I don't know. It's just not for me. If you enjoy those scenes, I have nothing against it. It's just not for me. I think the flirting just takes too long. And yeah, they're both immature high schoolers. You can say that. But high school grad, shut up. But I don't know. It just always felt so like weird and rom-commy to me. It kind of just shifts a little bit. I don't know. It just, those scenes just never hit for me. But it's also to say on like, you guys have both been saying how deep of a connection you have to these movies. I don't have that. This came out in 2012. I was 9 years old. I couldn't understand that these two like loved each other. Oh yeah, second one came out in 2014. First one came out in 2012. I was 9.
I think we're just both cynical because we haven't had girlfriends.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
I think that's just us holding out for a little angry.
But yeah, no, I see that. Yeah. Just never hit for me. I don't know. Not bad.
Jeremy has had girlfriends, so he probably
for sure.
He likes him more than
this motherfucker. I hate this guy. It's terrible. Dude, Spider-Man.
Yeah, this guy's Spider-Man. We have a podcast. There's a difference,
dude. Oh god, that was a first to hear. Thomas, I don't know about you. Was that? I'm sure he's told you that before about that scene.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
This is the first time we ever watched it together, so it was an experience.
Totally. Oh, okay. Yeah. So there were multiple things there that I picked up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna start off with they're still in high school, so they're probably a little immature. And then I heard him say high school graduates, but same thing. They're the same age, but Andrew and Emma, they weren't immature at all in the second one to me. I mean, for their age, they were definitely more mature because I don't know any 18-year-olds that are like that, honestly. I know a few, emotionally intelligent. He was immature in the first one, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, as for that scene specifically, I don't think the flirting's immature. I don't think the way they act with each other is immature, other than the flirting. I don't think it takes too long. If it was faster paced, it would feel like a lot of the MCU movies, unfortunately, where I'm off the top of my head, I can't pick anything from Tom's movies, but there's so many scenes where I get for the comedic aspect, they go fast and back and forth, which is so common in his movies. But I, if that scene were to pick up a little bit and be a little faster, it it would feel too fast. Like your emotions don't process that fast.
Mhm.
I think now that I think about it, to me, I think their reactions, I think everything was timed pretty perfectly. Um, what else did you say?
There's no dialogue in that scene either. It's not. It's all unscripted.
Yeah, I
So
could tell.
there's no script for that scene. That scene was never
Oh yeah,
originally
the
in
other
it. Andrew added that as like his what he wanted, and I think it works because as much as I've had one girlfriend that was in grade school, I still had a girl that I adored for a long time, and after not seeing them for a long time, that's even though theirs probably wasn't as long. It's still there's like that awkwardness where you want to see if it's still there. Like you want to know if there's still love together. Oh, that seems so heartbreaking. And so I know that conversation. That's a real thing, like where you flirt, but you also know like, oh, this there might still be some fire left, and then she drops the bomb that she's going to England, and that's like you can see it just demoralizes them.
No,
Like,
that part's fine. I like that part. It's the beginning when they're like walking and whispering to each other. It
they're walking and talking.
rubs
Do
me
you
the wrong
walk in
way.
silence when you walk with people?
Yeah, no, I
whispering.
speed walk. I like scissor jog down the street and I just go straight to where I'm going. That's how fast I walk.
With that said, put yourself in this situation. You know, you've broken up with your high school sweetheart, the girl that you're actually in love with, clearly.
Yeah.
And she calls you after not talking for a while and says, "Hey, like, I want to meet up with you and see you." Would you speed walk and not talk and not like what? I don't know. What would you guys talk
Yeah, for
about?
sure.
How would you talk?
Yeah, definitely no. I don't know.
Okay, I mean
I
that's
think
fair.
you're,
You know,
you're making good points. Like, but I don't know. I
Made these same points when Spider-Man says it. It's all good now.
yeah, because Spider-Man saying it. That you just answer my own question. Listen,
is it just my narrative? Actually, so that thing where Ryan said that it felt a little bit too natural, that caught me off guard too, because to me, when movies feel the most natural, it hits harder. I've never had a movie feel too natural for me that bothered me. And the fact
Yeah.
that Andrew was the one that wanted to put that in makes me really see that even if I didn't know it, it makes me really see that he was the character. He cared so much about that character to where he'd be like, not only would he be like, oh wait, I want to do this because I feel like he would do this in this scene, but he cares enough to make sure that happened. Again, like I said, I've been in that almost exact situation, so I've felt every emotion with how realistic it is. That's why I said the timing is really perfect. I just haven't gone through the whole I'm moving to England thing, thank God.
Yeah, hopefully none of us go through that part because
Yeah.
that sounds so rough.
Yeah.
I think this movie has some of the best chemistry between characters, and it has some of the best scenes that hit close to home. Like the scene with Sally Fields when she's saying, "You're my boy, you're my boy." The death scene of Gwen, which I think is the best death scene in movies. I think it's so well done. The fact that Andrew told his girlfriend, he's like, "Hey, I can't see you for 10 days because I need to film this scene." That shows how dedicated he was to making that feel as real as possible of him losing the woman he loves that he wanted to spend the rest of his life with. And it just, I mean, that scene hits so when he's holding her and he pulls her close and like whispers that he can't lose her too.
Stop. God.
Me and Jeremy just gonna start crying.
So, sorry to interrupt you here, but to quickly go over like all those the Uncle Beth death scene, the Sally Fields part. The first thing I want to say is that where she says you're my boy and they're crying and they're really connecting. First of all, yeah, that hit really hard. I'd say equivalently in TASM 1 was when she says take off the damn hood and look at me and she can't sleep. I think those are kind of comparable to each other. And then the the Uncle Ben death scene, the way he cried there, that didn't really hit me because like I knew it was coming, you know, like yeah, that's like it's part of it. And then going into the Gwen death scene. That's why I said stop, because I was like, shoot, I didn't know we were going into this. The part when he says, because when they break up, when we just saw it pass, he said, "I can't lose you too." That, shoot, I have that tattooed on me.
You have it tattooed. I saw that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for a lot of personal reasons too. But that part where he's crying and he pulls her closer. Not only was his crying the most realistic that I've actually seen in a movie, with him like hyperventilating almost. Like, not only did I feel that made me cry because of how realistic it was. I don't know how long it took me to find out, but I rewatch this movie all the time, sometimes with the subtitles on. When he pulls her close and his mouth is right next to her ear, he actually says it. I don't know. I don't think they did it on purpose, but I think it was done perfectly to where it wasn't meant for everyone to hear. He doesn't say, "I can't lose you too." He says, "I can't do this without you." I was like, God damn it.
Damn it.
Oh,
I'm going to start crying on the podcast again.
Please.
God damn it.
Do you want views or what, Tom?
Yeah, views. Crying gets us more views. Let's do it. No, that it to me, it's the perfect death scene. Every time I watch, besides today, I don't know what it was. I think it's because I actually tried not to cry. Every time when
you're watching
he
with Ryan,
catches
that's
her,
why.
and then she goes Peter right before the thing moves. I'm like, God, just jump, just throw yourself like left or right. Please do something. Have a different.
The way
ending.
she says it too is she's like, the way she says it, she's like, she knows something's about to happen, you know?
It's so like, it sounds like she's worrying for him, but also herself at the same time. She's like, Peter,
Like,
are you okay? But also, Peter, are you going to catch me?
like, please help. Yeah.
And then the hand from the web reaches out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Damn it.
Ryan. Aside from the rest of the scene, how do you feel about that? Because I have heard people say,
So,
what the hell?
yeah, no, I hate it and I laugh every single time. I just think her death's hilarious. Okay. No, I'm joking.
You do find it funny.
I was like,
TikTok clips.
I find it funny
You
because
do?
you cry every time. That's why it's funny.
No.
You didn't cry this time. I didn't laugh. I tried to make you cry.
You did.
I
You went dead silent to let me just sit with it.
No, I went dead silent. I was like, look at the hand. It's reaching out. He really wants to save her this time. Yeah, but no, I think.
So how do you feel about the hand?
Oh, I'm fine with the hand. I think it's just a little creative thing Mark Webb put in for just a final desperate grasp at her. I have no problem with it.
Love it.
Okay.
I love the hand.
Yeah. I don't mind it.
I will say that, yes, it's a creative aspect that he decided to put in there, if it was him. Probably because of how much I care about their connection and my connection, emotional connection to the movie. Being a filmmaker, and also that scene specifically with the urgency, I think it's much more than that. I would love to hear Mark Webb talk about that one day, which I don't think we'll ever get, or any of them actually. I think it's a symbolism of everything that he's got reaching, like that's what the hand is doing. It's reaching out to her. A lot of like movies are symbolism for certain things, and sometimes they'll put it in your face, they'll put it in the background, they'll do things like this, and yeah, that's what I think it is. It's him reaching out with everything that he's got, every last part of his being. He's putting everything into that. Everything that he's lost in the past and everything that he's trying not to lose right now. I think that's what that hand represents. Literally reaching out to all that. And yeah, that's part of the reason why I got it tattooed.
I have an amazing Spider-Man tattoo as well.
It does.
Well, which one do you have?
I have a spider symbol on my tricep.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
It's my most recent one too. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I as much of a Spider-Man fan as I am, I don't think I will ever do the Spider-Man logo, even if Andrew's my favorite, because like they keep changing the logos, and who knows how many more Spider-Man there will be, as we grow up. Like I don't know.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
And then the tattoo you have, I watched your video of when you got it. I was like, damn it, I wanted that tattoo, but now I don't want to copy someone. That just looks so much worse. Like now that I had you on the podcast, I can't be like, oh guys, look at my new tattoo that a guest of mine happened to have.
Like right after, like a week after.
God damn
Um,
it, Jeremy.
oops. I mean, there's a lot of people that I wouldn't say too many. There were some people that actually brought up that Taya Miller got the tattoo first, but not only was hers different, I think it was just a web on her wrist, and it was what I see a lot is a strand and then a spider hanging from that. That's one thing I also never want to do. And a lot of people are saying that I copied her, but not only have I been planning this tattoo for years, I just didn't want to get it until I like to get my tattoos at a certain point in time. So I was waiting for a very special moment, and you saw in the video, it was because I got invited to the Spider-Verse premiere. Um, I had just recently gone to a breakup, so I went to the premiere alone. So that emotional connection, like everything that I've lost in the past that I'm trying not to lose. Yeah, it's perfect time to get that tattoo. And then on mine, you probably saw in the video also, for those of you that haven't seen it, we could probably put the clip. At the bottom, it says, I can't lose you too, because I wanted to make it a little more than a web than just a picture to make it not look like those, temporary tattoos. Someone on TikTok actually, I don't know how young they were. I know they were younger than me, but they were like, "Oh my God, like I want to get this tattoo also because of you." And as much as I don't want people to have the same exact tattoo as me, I was like, yeah. I mean, like, I find it better that you told me ahead of time rather than getting it and then being like, "Look." So I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Go ahead, do it." I tag me when you get it so I can see it. Um, Theirs wasn't as good, so I was like, okay. Selfishly, that
You're
makes me
like,
feel a little better
Marmo.
about myself.
You're
Yeah,
like, see, this is why I don't copy me. Mine just came out better.
they also didn't put a quote too, so I'm like, okay, that's also different. They literally just did the web stuff.
Just the web. Yeah, I am happy that I haven't seen anyone with an identical tattoo of me yet. There's been I have the Deathly Hallows on my bicep,
Nice.
and that one, of course, there's people that have it, but I thank God for my artist. Shout out to Everlasting Tattoo. I sent him a bunch of different clips of it, and he made a personalized version for me. So that was cool because no one's had an identical to mine. And people are always like,
Nice.
"Oh, I like how you like." I have Harry's lightning bolt. I have the wand colored in white. It's like I like that. Tattoos, everyone can kind of like have the same type of tattoo, but there's always little iterations of difference that you can.
Personality to it.
Yeah, there's a personality
Yeah.
behind
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Big
Makes
tattoo
total
guy.
sense.
Ryan,
I have
Ryan
another
needs to
tattoo
get
right
some
here.
tattoos for me.
It actually says, "Be the change you wish to see." This is my mom's handwriting, so I wanted the cursive here to look kind of similar. That's what I did.
That's my mom's handwriting on my bicep. My other one. Yeah, I have Pulp Fiction, Star Wars, Spider-Man, Harry Potter.
Nice.
My mom's handwriting.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm doing a movie sleeve and then family stuff on the other.
Oh, that's what you're doing. Dude, that's super cool. A movie sleeve? I never thought of that. That's super cool. And the fact that you also have your mom's handwriting? Nice.
Yeah, it was my most painful tattoo, and I was like, that's it. I was like, no more on my upper arm because this one hurts so bad. I don't know why my other one didn't hurt at all. It got close to the armpit, and the XO on the end was just not fun.
The skin is a lot thinner there, and there's like a nerve right there too, versus a tricep. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love my tattoos, but there was a scene I wanted to bring up from TASM 2. Oh my God. Oh, what are your feelings on first off, we'll start off with probably the most controversial scene between at least me and Ryan is how do you feel about the train sequence with his dad? Because I feel like this is one that not just me and Ryan, a lot of people have very different opinions on how that scene goes.
Okay. Yeah, you're talking about when he like does the research and goes in to find the train, right? My first thing that I will say is when he finds the video and the way he reacts and cries to it, like that's probably the thing that hit the most in that scene to me. Literally the rest of it, I've never had a connection to it. I think part of me was a bit confused as to where they were going with it, even when I was younger. I never actually thought about it too deeply about that scene specifically, but now that I am, not only am I more confused, but I'm just like, I I always just kind of accept that scene because obviously it's in the movie already. I kind of accept it and move on and wait for the parts that are important to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's all I would have to say about that. The whole research thing, the Roosevelt, him. I mean, the way he found out about it was cool. And the fact that he was so determined to find it. He just threw the calculator out of anger against the wall and picked up what Aunt May said about how to find it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And while he's researching, I mean, this is totally random, doesn't matter to the movie. I always thought it was hilarious that his search engine was Bing.
Yeah, it's not Google, it's not Safari, it's not anything good. It's Bing.
It's not even Firefox. Yeah. But yeah.
I don't mind it. The train sequence, I think it's cool how he finds it just by dumb luck that he gets so angry about all the Gwen stuff and just shatters the calculator.
That's really cool.
Which,
yeah.
Thank God, I just said this to him earlier. Thank God it's not loose, because if they were just loose in there, I'd be like, how's he not hear that anytime they're like...
Oh, yeah, I hate when movies do that.
Yeah.
I'm
But
like,
the fact
he
that
would
they
have
were
heard that if he ever
stacked, I
moved.
think.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I think the whole video with his dad, I wish it was not intercut with Dame DeHaan being Dame DeHaan. I wish it was just him watching and listening to his dad, because I feel like that scene hits me at least. Like hearing him talk, his dad getting to talk to him, especially someone that he thought doesn't actually probably love him. He's like, he just gave up and just, he's like, he probably did it for a good reason, but he never, I don't know.
Right. Like it's
I
literally
love that whole sequence. So
uh
I think it's weird, but I like everything that happens once he gets in the train.
yeah, with the whole dad part. Yeah. It's literally, I mean, regardless of what type of message it was, for anyone that's lost someone, it's a voicemail that you're finding after all these years. Like that's already a hard conversation, and then the fact that it's the type of video where he said it's always been about him hits harder. In the theater, my first experience when he turned on the video, and it was the exact part from the first Amazing Spider-Man when they were playing hide and seek. I was like, uh-oh, like, am I gonna cry here? Yeah.
I love that scene in the first one. I think it's a really good way to put you right into it. But then I don't get why we had to do it for the second one. Me and him,
that too.
We said instead of showing the parents, maybe can do the same thing. Show him as a young kid, but show him with Harry. Give us something to that relationship, not just throw us in when they're out of high school and they're like, "Oh, it's been 9 years?" They said since they've seen each other.
Yeah, he just walks in. He's like, "Sorry, your dad died, but I gotta go." So,
yeah, like they definitely didn't build up to that. Actually, my first experience again watching it when he rolled down the window, I was like, "That's our Harry Osborn? What the heck?"
Mhm.
And I was like, did they just choose him because he kind of looks like an elf, and they're making him a more natural Green Goblin at the end? That's pretty much all I see. Other than that, like I don't know why they would cast him as Harry Osborn, and like this version too was super whiny. Like I just he was that spoiled brat that never grew up.
Yeah.
We
had the idea that it was because of the movie. If you've seen the movie Chronicle, J.J. Abrams movie, where it's like found footage, they get powers.
Oh yeah.
He's kind of playing the same character in that. So that's the idea we came up with while watching it. But I don't know.
Like that's why they
like somebody saw that and was like, he could work for this Harry. That would be good. So.
And again,
I
that
wrote
probably
down
goes
a
with
list
the
of everyone who. Oh
no, I was just saying that probably like adds on when they were like, oh, he looks like the Goblin we're trying to make. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went but yesterday I was trying to do some research, which I rarely do for the show, and I pulled up a couple of the people that were passed on playing Harry Osborn. Sam Claflin was passed on, Eddie Redmayne was passed on, and Boyd Holbrook was passed on to play Harry Osborn. And instead we got Dame DeHaan. Boyd Holbrook, for those who don't know, he plays the bad guy in Wolverine in Logan.
Oh, right.
That's Boyd Holbrook.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Actually, I didn't know that. Yeah, well, I guess I'm assuming they'll put pictures up for you that are watching. I didn't know that. Wow.
So we got. Eddie Redmayne would have been cool. Boyd Holbrook would have been cool. Boyd Holbrook, I don't know if he would have worked for.
Yeah, he's usually a little
tough.
Maybe.
I don't mind Dame DeHaan once, like in scenes where I think the writing is better. I don't think he's a bad Harry.
Mm-hmm.
It's when
what scene?
I don't mind him as Goblin. Like once he becomes the, I
Okay.
don't mind the look. I
Oh,
don't mind his voice. I kind of
okay.
like the natural Goblin, and I like the idea of him trying to heal himself, even though he's been
Hmm.
told
Yeah,
not
it
to
makes
do
sense.
it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I really have a soft spot for it. But then there's scenes where he's telling Electra, he's like, "I need you. We're friends." I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, please
Yeah,
stop
like
talking."
that's
So I don't know.
that
Oh,
feels
speaking of
very. I
devils,
mean,
behind you right now.
oh
Oh
yeah,
God,
There he is.
Jesus.
every single one of his scenes, I will say, is consistent to his character. Like in
Yeah.
this scene, he's like, "I'm not talking to you right now. Right now, Felicia works for me." And by the way, for those of you that didn't catch that, that's Felicia Hardy.
Yeah.
I would have loved her as Black Cat. And like
Yep.
whatever, I'm not gonna beat myself up anymore
Don't
for
break
that.
your
But
heart over it.
we could have got
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
It could have been so
Yeah.
good.
Her Black Cat with Andrew's fucking Spider-Man, dude.
Yeah.
I will fantasize about that till the day I die. Like that would have been so cool. I mean, we haven't had a Black Cat at all, so cool.
We've had hints at it.
Felicity Jones, yeah.
We had a hint at it. Was it Morbius that's in the newspaper? The Black Cat
Who
gets away
gives a
with it.
fuck?
Yeah.
No, if you mention the name Morbius, everything in the rest of that sentence doesn't matter. Let it go.
Okay, I will say also, and for those of you watching, I wonder how you're all gonna react to this. I haven't watched Morbius yet.
Don't
Don't.
you don't waste
Don't.
your time.
Do not.
Well, it's like not only as a filmmaker, but like the fact that I do want to consume everything Spider-Man. Like I know it's bad. There's a part of there's two answers. Part of me wants to watch it to see how bad it is because I have a top 5 worst movies on my list, and I want to see if that will replace any of them. And I want to see like it's part of the whole Sony thing. But
I will say we've both said this publicly and on the podcast. The first act is actually not bad,
That is true.
and it just
Oh.
goes.
okay.
It just nosedives. Yeah.
And there's no ending. It just stops.
Oh.
There's no ending. It just stops.
Yeah. If you're gonna watch it, just get, I mean, blacked out. Just really enjoy yourself. Have like some buddies
Got it.
over, just chill out, just
Right.
Yeah. barely pay
Got
attention.
it. Okay.
Anyone else excited
And
for
then,
Madam Web, though?
No.
I have no excitement for that, but I think it's cool. Like they casted all of them, and then the fact that I don't know if you guys know or anyone else knows that's watching that it takes place in the early 2000s. Like that's nostalgic
I'm
to
down.
me, and yeah, like that's super cool. Early 2000s, not only because I was born in that era, but like just the era itself. Early 2000s it still hits. Unfortunately, I don't think anything in this generation beats early 2000s, especially the music, man. But
Early
yeah,
2000s.
I think that's really cool. So I'm excited for that. But the fact that it's another Sony thing, I thought I could trust in Sony by itself for the whole Sonyverse thing in the beginning, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for
I don't know.
Sydney Sweeney as Spider Woman.
I think the casting's
I'm
well
just
been pretty
excited-
good, but
Yeah, I'm just excited to see them. Yeah.
I'm excited for Craven. I'm still holding out hope on that movie.
Ah,
Give me
man.
like a 62
Okay,
overall
okay.
fun hard R movie.
Yeah, that one I'm probably like 60-40 on that one. Cuz like the initial reaction of seeing the trailer was like holy crap. But also at the end I was like wait, are we going with the whole storyline of his dad was the original Craven and he's
That's
I
what
was
I
like
thought they were
what's
going
happening?
with. I don't know.
I was like what's happening here?
I didn't even know Russell
And then
Crowe was in
I-
the movie until I saw the trailer.
We talked about that on the podcast
Did we?
really early on.
Oh, whatever.
But yeah, not only was the confusion there, but as I started to see people talk about their opinions online, I was like, "Oh yeah, I don't think this is going to be good."
Andrew Garfield's coming back, baby. I'm holding out hope.
Oh,
I think there's
one
going
of
to be
these-
two rhinos now? Because the guy is
I don't
No.
know,
becoming the
Ryan.
rhino in
No.
that movie. So I don't
No,
know.
All I know,
no.
Andrew
They're not doing
Garfield will
that.
be in. I'm calling it here. Everyone that's listening, you can call me back on this. Andrew Garfield will be in Venom 3.
Okay.
100%.
I hope so. I'd love to see him again. But
Okay.
He's gonna be in it. They're gonna
Yeah.
connect it, and it's gonna be Andrew. I
Yeah,
know it.
And then Ryan, to what you were saying, like, I mean, I'm sure all of us know for a fact that Andrew's coming back. For those people that don't think so, and I still get those comments. I'm like, how do you like? You're one of those people that were saying that Toby and Andrew weren't coming back at all, huh? And
Yeah.
that part I get, but the fact that they're not gonna bring such a big part or a big money maker in their eyes. They're not gonna bring them back and satisfy us so much, and then never bring them back again, especially since they're building the whole Spider-Verse thing. Those are the same type of people that are saying that Miles Morales is not going to show up in live action.
He's
They
in
were
No Way
saying that
Home.
Toby, they were saying that Toby and Andrew weren't gonna pop up in the Across the Spider-Verse, but they did, but not in the way that I thought. But they still did. They showed a live action scene in a cartoon. And they did that with Venom too. I'm like, do you guys not see what Sony's doing? Like, they're gonna build up Miles into live action. And yeah, I mean, to what Ryan was saying, the whole Rhino thing, I think they're bringing Andrew back definitely. But in an alternate universe or whatever, where they're doing their new Sinister Six, like I know for a fact if that happens, they're not even gonna mention their old Rhino.
Yeah, there's not.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be. I mean, they mentioned No Way Home, but this could be a different Andrew. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Bring back Emma Stone too somehow, please. Just want to see
Oh,
Gwen one more
gosh.
time.
Oh wait, another thing. It's small. I don't know if you guys have seen it or have caught it. A lot of people haven't. It took me a while to catch it. So you guys know how they were supposed to have Mary Jane in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 also?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've seen like some of the video clips and some of the pictures as well. Especially that scene where she meets Gwen. I wish I saw that. She actually made the final cut. Do you guys know that?
No.
Really?
Didn't know that, huh? Yeah, a lot of people say after all of you that are watching, here's where she comes up when Peter is rewatching Gwen's speech, which is reworded differently, and it really bothered me, but that's not the point. And then the music swells up, and it shows the Rhino coming out of the bank, and I thought that was also a little cliche. Like, what? You're a huge villain.
CGI is
Like,
not
what are you
good in
gonna?
that
You're just
shot
gonna
either.
steal cash.
The money looks really odd.
Yeah. And they're
Oh, that
also
was
in
so
that era
quick.
of
I
making
like-
everybody a robot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, right after that shot, I think right after, it's when he throws a car, and our point of view is inside the coffee shop, seeing the car land on another one, and people like gasp. She's right there behind the counter. Like, you could clearly see the ponytail and the apron that she's wearing, but we don't see her face. But yeah, that's her, and I know that it's that scene because I've seen the behind the scenes pictures of her exiting that door. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I know
So
that she
for
was
those of you that
supposed
didn't
to ride a motorcycle. She was supposed to meet Peter. All that stuff. I am happy they didn't do it. Just because that movie already had so much that it was trying to do.
Yeah.
It should have
I wanna
just been
see
the
it, but-
original cut. I don't know why. Oh, another cool fact I learned on my my research dive I did. So after the release of the Amazing Spider-Man 2, when Andrew Garfield famously came out and made a comment about the Amazing Spider-Man 2 and his unhappiness with the final product, there was a petition signed, had 460,000 signatures to do a web cut.
Really?
A web
Do
cut.
his version.
Yeah,
Within the first month.
I
think.
was. Yeah,
I probably signed that.
I didn't. I never saw the petition, but like I would.
Yeah.
I'll sign
No,
it.
I would.
I'm all for the web cut. Yeah, you too. I'm sure because like the way you hate it now, I'm sure you want to see the version that it was meant to be, the good version.
Absolutely.
Like, okay, this is a huge thing to say, and like this isn't something that anyone can argue about too long because we're never going to see it probably, or most likely that if it was done the right way, I feel like it would be the best Spider-Man movie right now. It would be a lot of people's like number one.
This version's in my
maybe.
top 4.
Me
this
too.
is flawed.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, I think this is. It jumps back and forth because it really is just the emotional aspect, but it jumps back and forth between being like my first and second favorite. But if I'm
now
really
counting
judging it
them,
as movies,
It's probably 2 on mine. Probably.
if we're judging it like as a movie, like
Well, I have
it'll be
I have
lower.
as a superhero movie, a Spider-Man movie, and as like just a film looking at it from like review critically, and it's gonna have different scores from every perspective. But
Right,
as a
exactly.
Spider-Man movie, I think it's almost perfect. Don't get me wrong, the dialogue's really poor in certain scenes, but the swinging, him actually just saving people, is so nice to see when you don't see that in superhero movies. It's always got to be the big
Yeah.
villain. Yeah,
The way he does it.
The swinging looks great. The suit's perfect.
Yep.
I don't know. And the love interest is the best in any Spider-Man
And-
movie.
Yeah, the love interest, like you said, the chemistry definitely saved the
Best
aspect
scene.
of the movie.
Great scene.
But another thing,
Great scene.
um, remember that kid that he saved from being bullied, Jorge?
Jorge.
Jorge.
Like that's something. It's it's like a cute kid, and he's like, "Oh, I'm Spider-Man. I'll walk you home." Like it's the
Mhm.
little things that matter. It's not the big action scenes. It's the little things that matter. It's the little details. Or when it comes to the action scenes, with how he fights, and when you slow it down, you'll see like why he does certain things, and it's consistent to his version of the character. Like someone recently slowed down when the Amazing Spider-Man 1 when he was wrapping the web around the lizard, how he moves exactly like a spider. And I was like, oh, like no, it's one of those details that was done intentionally. Um, the whole Jorge thing, some people could see it as a cute little thing, but clearly it led to more, to where he had that number one fan kid that looked up to him so much that, you know, took that to heart. Of course, meeting Spider-Man, that he tried to stand up and be Spider-Man, which is hugely dangerous, by the way.
Very,
And
very
yeah,
irresponsible.
whenever I rewatch that scene, I catch it over and over. But whatever, the cops are still shooting when he's on the street, and I'm like, that scene was kind of also physically put together weird. Like the barricades show up out of nowhere, but whatever.
Yeah,
The
and the
Jorge
people are
thing,
just standing right behind the cop cars, not getting a shot
Mhm.
as
not
there's bullets
yeah,
being passed.
Yeah.
yeah. But
That
yeah, the
seems weird.
Jorge thing,
Forgive it.
yeah, the Jorge thing. Think about it, and I hope they do it, but Tom hasn't interacted with kids like that, or the city. The city, New York City of all things. New York City means a lot to not only people that live there, but New York City is just a huge thing. It's not no small town. It's not just a city that's in superhero movies. New York City itself was a character in Tobey's Spider-Man. The first one, the second one, the freaking third one. Like that connects Spider-Man to the city more. And Andrew doing that whole thing at the end, and then the Jorge thing. I loved that. I love that he interacted with a kid, because I feel like they should, because Spider-Man, a lot of the kids look up to him. Yeah, they didn't do that with Tom. They did none of that with Tom. Tom swings right over the city, not close to anyone, and they did it in No Way Home, where I also didn't like it. It
The
was the
swing
deleted
never looks
scene.
as good.
Oh yeah,
in
that's a
any
whole
of
other
them.
thing. I think for the people that even think that Tom is their favorite, I think even they agree that like Andrews is the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, that deleted scene where Tom's brother Harry is just like dangling on the web, and they're like, there's three people going back and forth of like, what are you doing? You can't do this with him. Like he's a child, and he's like, my kid's 14. He's a moron. And they go back and forth. Like they need to stop doing that. That quick back and forth. Like it's up to Spider-Man to do the quick quipping, not every single person. But yeah, that's just Like I said, I hope Tom interacts with the city and kids more in the next trilogy, maybe in the next one. Because another thing that I saw, I don't know if it's contract wise. I think it is though. I heard that it was. I don't know if you guys realize this, but ever since Marvel bought Disney, there are not only less fatalities, but they show it less and less and less as they make more movies. And think about it. Homecoming, the final battle was up in the air and then on an empty beach. Far From Home was literally a bunch of robots on an empty bridge. No people. They left in time. No one was at stake. No lives were at stake there, or maybe some, but yeah, overall no. And then No Way Home, they specifically planned it to be like away from people, which is cool. Like it makes sense for their safety or the city's safety or whatever. But like they're playing on a playground essentially.
Yeah,
There's
I do like when they put. I think I was saying that about Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Hmm.
The scene when you're actually right at the scene. It's when Electro finally figures out his power and he starts attacking people. A little bit later in the scene, but
Yeah.
I wish you actually. This sounds horrible. I wish you actually saw people die.
Getting electrocuted.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that makes it feel so much more real and so much scary. The fact that he's just shooting around people, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's scary shooting electricity out of his hands, but it makes it more like, oh, people are at risk. Like Spider-Man needs to do something. Like people are getting hurt.
Wait,
Even if it's like somebody steps on the same grate as Electro and they just drop, like it's an accident. But
Yeah,
he's like,
something
oh
like
shit,
that.
what did I do? Like he has no idea. You know what I mean? Because he's still learning his powers in that scene. He could do something totally on accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now that you brought that up, it's really cool because I never thought about it. Picture this scene, but when he's starting to act out and attack the cops and, blow things up or whatever, whether it's someone stepping on the same grate, getting electrocuted and falling, or him actually hitting people, imagine while Spider-Man's trying to manage everything, his spider senses go off. Everything kind of mutes and muffles, and people are running by him and he's jumping over people and saving people quickly as he's trying to swing to that one person. And just imagine that person like dies right in front of him. Not only is that another death where it really affects Spider-Man, but that's in not only in public, but around everyone. And I don't know if it's still being televised. I don't think so. But like we see, there's a live camera and they put it up on the screen.
Mhm.
Like, and it's on the news again when he gets home, where those two guys are like, I think his suit is rubberized, Like, if that happened, not only would that hit him so hard, but when he gets home and watches the news and they talk about that they lost a couple people in that time, like that would have hit hard too.
Yeah. It's also a huge part of Spider-Man, the, hero or menace part of it. That's huge in Tobey's stuff. And they mention it a lot in the beginning of this movie, especially. But,
Yeah.
they mention it, but you never see anything bad happen that was because of
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Besides, like, Captain
Yeah.
Stacy and all that stuff. Like, you can say bad stuff happens because of him. But you never
Yeah.
see it yourself. You never see anybody get killed from something that maybe it wasn't his fault, but he was
Yeah.
involved in it. People blame him. It just never happens. They kind of just say like, "Oh, he's a menace," but you never see
Yeah.
why they might think that,
Right.
which is just a missed opportunity. So I don't know.
I also love this when he's trying to talk him down. Like he did it perfectly. I've seen teachers talk like that to kids, and people talk like to anyone like that to calm them down, and I think he did that perfectly. But, I mean, yeah, like you said, they don't really touch on the menace aspect, and it's also because Mark Webb was just like, no, we are not gonna cast a J. Jonah Jameson. That would be like disrespectful because they perfectly did JJ like that. But I think it's also because they were scared too. Like they probably wanted to, but they were like, no, we can't. Like people are gonna hate it no matter what,
Supposedly, well, I think either Avi confirmed it or one of the other whoever co-wrote the original writing with it. There was a scene with Jonah, and it was J.K. Simmons, and he ended up filming a scene, and they cut it.
What?
You know when he sends the email to him?
Yeah.
That was originally an in-person scene of him giving them to him.
Dude,
Just something
imagine
small
if
that they
that
wanted to do,
deleted.
and I think either Mark Webb thought it was weird to cast the same guy, because I guess the multiverse hadn't fully been developed yet. Which it was going to, because Toby and Andrew were going to have a movie together, which got leaked and all that Sony leaks a couple years ago. But yeah, they did film it, and I think J.K. Simmons at one point spoiled that he was supposed to be in it in the interview. He's like, "Yeah, I filmed something for the new Spider-Man." And people are like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, it's just like one scene," and then it got
I haven't
cut.
seen that well. Dude, imagine if they actually like released or even leaked. Did I say released? It released or leaked that deleted scene. Oh my god.
There's a lot of good deleted scenes in these franchise in especially TASM.
Yeah,
because like
Right.
it's very hard to find, but you can find it. It's the original cut of the Goblin and Peter fight. I don't know, for everyone listening, I don't know if you guys know this. The original cut, Peter kills him. Peter goes down, catch it. The Gwen stuff happens. Peter hears Goblin laughing because, as you see, Goblin gets launched to the corner. Peter goes up and stabs him multiple times with the glider.
Out of anger, just.
And it's just anger, and
he
it got
loses
shown
it.
during screenings, like test screenings, and people thought it was too dark, and they did not like that Spider-Man got angry and killed him. So yeah, you can find pictures of it. There are
Yeah.
pictures of him holding
Like-
the glider over his head.
Yeah, like I'd say I think it's best that they didn't do that. But I personally would love to see that.
Yeah.
I wish he killed him just because it's like in that moment you're just seeing red. Like you just lost the one of two
Right,
people
yeah.
that you love, and
Yeah.
you hear the guy laughing who caused it, and you
Mhm.
just mm.
You know what? Yeah, now that I think about it, I'm glad that they didn't do it because think about it. It ended with the camera zooming out and then looking up at the moon while he's crying. And then they transition into the funeral and him at the grave. I think that would have interrupted it and the whole mood and just the tone. And the only thing I can think about is No Way Home, unfortunately. And I have thought about this before that right after Aunt May died, that's where they slowly get into the Toby and Andrew showing up.
Mhm.
And everyone starts cheering and laughing again. And a lot of people forget. And sometimes, or some of not everyone forgot, but, in the moment, you're not focused on it. A lot of people, they know that Aunt May died, but they don't feel it anymore, maybe, because they switched up the tone. I feel like they should have done that. I feel like they should have brought Toby and Andrew beforehand. I don't know how they would have done it. It's that movie actually has a lot of loopholes that I didn't realize, but yeah, I didn't like that.
I feel like you could literally just flip the scenes because Ned and Zendaya are still by themselves.
Yeah.
They never show up.
Oh, you're right. You could literally just flip it. And yeah. Holy crap. Yeah, see?
I mean, you probably would have to do it before they go bad because then that'd be kind of cutting in between the action.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like you could have done it a little bit earlier, and they're trying to figure out where he is. They see that on the news. They go and find him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
see,
do love
exactly.
that, too.
That was another thing where, like, how the hell did you know where to go? Or, like,
Yeah. Great job,
Toby... I mean, obviously the portals, but Toby was just like, I've been here and I've been feeling like he needs my help.
Yeah.
Like, I get that's the spider sense, but that's kind of lazy.
It is kind of goofy.
That's also not really how the spider sense works most of the time, but whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I wish, because a lot of people hate it. A lot of people don't watch TASM because they're like, I hate that movie. I hate that Gwen dies, so I refuse to watch it. And I'm like, all right, to each his own. But like, I wanted to sit with that emotion of Aunt May dying. I think I cried then too. Yeah. And then we go straight to cheering about Andrew and Toby.
Yeah.
To everyone that doesn't watch TASM because Gwen dies, there's a reason why Gwen and Peter never get married in the comics. Because Gwen dies. In 95% of comics, unless it's a Spider-Gwen storyline. Gwen, that's a major part of Spider-Man, is losing his first love and figuring it out eventually and getting with MJ. So I love Gwen Stacy. I hate her version in Spider-Man 3. Do not like that version of the character.
Yeah.
Bryce Dallas Howard, bad choice. Emma Stone will always be iconically Gwen Stacy. And did anyone see her haircut? She got cut like Spider-Gwen.
Recently?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Dude.
Everyone's like, wait. But like, there's a strike going on right now.
They're not filming anything.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? I don't think they're doing anything. Because if they even did like screen tests, that still counts. So
Yeah, that
I
would
don't think
still
they're
be
doing
with
anything.
the
That's
the
production.
company.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's
That's
a
part of
couple, what is it?
pre-production.
Neon signed with the writers and actors.
Do they?
A24 signed.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
someone else signed. So we're getting somewhere. I don't know how A24 can afford it, but Disney and Sony
No,
can't.
dude, yeah.
Because that makes sense.
Right. I saw a video the other day where they were like, "Oh, Disney, you can add a bunch of these new things in your park like next year, but you can't budge for the riders and whatnot."
You can build Indiana Jones Land. Can't make.
Right.
They're getting
However-
rid of something for that.
Like if you think about it, we don't know all the details, but there are different departments to where I don't know if they can just move money like that. I'm sure Disneyland, I already know Disneyland and Disney World are different departments. There's theme parks, but clearly, like if you go on their Instagram, they make Disney parks, Disneyland, Disney animation, Disney Plus, Disney itself as Instagram. So, yeah, as for the money moving around, I don't know if you can just be like, oh, you can add stuff to your parks but not the movies. But I mean, I don't know. I might be wrong. I know that money works when it wants to, so I feel like
when they want to do something, they'll move the money around.
Yeah.
And of course, right when we went to LA, it was writers were on strike, actors were on strike, and all the cleaning people at hotels were on strike.
Yep.
So we just had a huge strike out front of our hotel the whole time.
Yeah.
We're like, this is nice. Good way to wake up in the morning.
You hear the drums in the morning. That's fun.
Oh my god. Hey, good for them though. They deserved better wages.
Yeah.
They really do. Yeah.
Yeah, TASM. I highly recommend.
This scene
there
too.
he is, Michael
where
Morbius.
He's touching,
Yep, Morbius.
Yeah, they pull up more. There's Morbius there, and then I think there's even Craven there, right on the thing.
And then they mention it's like V something, which is the Venom serum.
Oh,
I mean, we do talk about Craven. They go to Cravenoff, so it's like not too surprising. But yeah, Morbius is there too.
Yep.
And of course, in the credits of TASM 2, we see all the different members as gear throughout the credits. I remember
thought
being
that was really
so
cool too.
excited.
Who was the? I still can't. Who was the smoking mask? It's like a Jabberwocky mask.
Chameleon.
But there's like, is it?
Chameleon's one of them. Yeah. There's two. The one's Mysterio. The one is. I know Chameleon was the villain in the third one because he was going to be Gwen, and Peter was going to be like going crazy about it.
Oh, about like got it.
Chameleon's one of the coolest villains.
Is he still going to be in Craven? Because I haven't heard. I remember that was.
Yeah, it's what's his name?
Yeah, I remember he got cast, but I haven't heard anything since then.
Yeah,
I don't think I saw him in the trailer.
Craven. They cast him a while ago.
Like a year ago, yeah.
I mean, they probably wouldn't show him. Unless they cut it.
Yeah, I don't know. He could be anybody, to be fair. That's,
Could be Russell Crowe.
Could be. I don't know. Could be a lion. I don't know.
Dame DeHaan.
Look at a lion. Dude, the fact that Russell Crowe, his version of her Zeus.
Oh, God.
I was too excited when he got cast, and then it was just that. I thought Russell Crowe is Zeus now that he's like old and bigger. It would be funny as hell.
Zeus is
and then it was terrible.
That whole movie.
Yeah, but this was like a Zeus that was like been a god for forever, doesn't give a shit anymore, just eating grapes. He's getting fat and old.
Just be jacked without doing anything.
I thought that was the joke, is that he's gotten fat and old, and then Hercules showed up, and he's like, "Yeah,
stupid movie."
It was a stupid movie.
Well, okay, I'm kind of in the middle of you guys to where like I love Russell Crowe, and if they casted him as a more serious Zeus and not jacked, I wouldn't even have cared about him not being jacked.
I probably wouldn't have said anything.
Yeah, if it's good, it's good.
It's because everything else is bad around it.
It's yeah.
I hate that.
All right, so everyone that doesn't know yet, he's gonna be in Craven. He plays the dad, and he's about to play two bad Marvel characters.
I think he's gonna be good in Craven. I like it. I like when he does cool accents.
You know what? I thought that initially, and it looks really good, but watch. It's gonna come out and we're gonna be like, oh great, like the writing would be so stale.
This guy knows what's up.
his dialogue specifically is probably gonna be stale.
Yeah. Or Venom, Let There Be Some Property Damage. I hate that movie.
Still haven't seen it.
Don't watch it. Venom, Let There Be Property
Damage. Dude, I don't even know. I think that's when I started losing hope in the Sonyverse. Because the first Venom, I already didn't like, but I was like, dude, all right, embrace this new thing. Like, you were attached to Topher Grace's Venom, but, like, it wasn't good, so move on. Like, it was just, I think I liked the look of the original Venom. Like, it was really cool. It was actually scary. And some people are like, oh, he's supposed to be bigger. Like, cool. I'm not saying he's not. I really liked it. I like how they did it. And for 2007 CGI, that was sick. If you rewatch the first Venom, the first part where the Venom crawls up on one of the scientists, none of their clothes move as the Venom goes up there. Like, it's, if you rewatch the scene where he takes over Toby's suit, you'll see that the bed sheets move at specific parts, not like someone's pulling it, but as if those fingers are actually crawling along the bed. And
Mm.
again, it's the little things that I see. Yeah, all the rest of the CGI and Tom Hardy's Venom is
It's fine.
questionable.
It's
Sorry.
Yeah.
And Sam Raimi's just the king of doing that kind of stuff. Like, because
Oh,
he definitely
yeah.
did that some practical way of making everything move. And
Yeah.
then they probably touched it up with the CGI, but he did
Yeah.
it. Going back to
Yeah,
Evil
like wires
Dead,
going up or something.
Yeah, the
like,
dude's
just something.
the dude's a
They did
great
actually.
director.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw, but in the bell scene, the church bell, they had behind the scenes pictures of him ripping off his clothes and the suit. They had clear wires pulling actually. So I think that's the part where he's pulling it and then the rest of the suit like reacts.
It's like jumping off them. Yeah.
They practically did it. It's not all CGI. And yeah, CGI nowadays is also another conversation in itself.
It somehow got worse. Technology got better.
It's because they're speeding it
Demand
up, of
went up.
course, and demand went up, and like the horrible working conditions, obviously, where they give them a deadline, and
Terrible.
technology now, the companies are taking advantage of it to where the way it works is when they outsource to different VFX companies, they work by bids. So it takes some time to bid, and then once they choose someone who can bid or who wins the bid, they might not even be qualified to be part of the movie. I mean, qualified, sure, CGI, but they might not be at that same level, But once that takes time, as you guys know, they don't give them that much time to make the movie, unfortunately, especially nowadays. Like Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3 was 2002, and then 4, and then 7. Nowadays, people are like, "Oh, we gotta wait till next year." That's stupid. Like,
we're waiting 3 years for this, 4 years for the next one of this.
Yeah. I think so.
yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Take your time.
Man.
Jeremy, this is the most important question I'm going to ask you all night.
Okay.
What is your thoughts on this movie, Daredevil?
Okay. All right. Of course, I grew up with that. I watched it when it came out, when I was a baby, and then when I was a young kid, and I didn't know anything about movies back then. So, yeah, I thought it was so cool. I love even nowadays, like the way it aged. I like Ben Affleck's acting with his blindness and his tinted eyes. I like it more than Charlie Cox's acting. I think Charlie Cox's isn't bad, but to me, I can't help but see that he's acting like a blind person. Ben Affleck's, it just, even when I watch it now, I haven't watched it like in the past year or two, so maybe I should, but it's still convincing. I like Ben Affleck when it comes to certain aspects of him being dark as Daredevil and serious and whatnot. I liked him in Happy Hogan, like that. That was super cool. I like him and Jennifer Garner. Fucking love that. I love
Except the fight scene at the playground. Besides that.
Oh yeah. I like them. And I love the suit. I like that way better than Charlie Cox's. When they first casted Charlie, or when they first announced Charlie Cox and they showed it, I was like, why is there so much black blocking and patches and like the whole like
it's not tight.
And then
It doesn't
and
fit
then
right.
the mask. I'm like, I get it, but I feel like they would have redesigned it after all these years. But I still like Ben Affleck's like motorcycle jacket collar with a buckle and then that cowl, like
it's that tight
even
red...
the eyes. Yeah, the eyes, like the frown and like Batman's cowl. Yeah, like his eyebrows furrowing. That's sick. Yeah, I don't think I like Charlie Cox's suit compared to that at all. Like I think I like every aspect.
Good.
I think I like every aspect.
It's got the beautiful red. It's got the 2 Ds on it. It's so similar to what I wanted from a comic book. Have you seen the director's cut?
I don't think I have.
Dude,
if I have, it was probably a long time ago.
It is better.
Thank you.
It's on YouTube. It's free on YouTube, actually.
But I will say, and I will agree with everyone about that suit, it is so 2000s era where everything's all leather. I get it. But they did well with it. They really did. And then the way he works with his weapons compared to the new one I think is still better too. Especially when he uses it like along the buildings, like in the comics. That's sick. But yeah, the rest of it, whew, yeah, the bullseye scenes and the dialogue and it's all just so bad. The yeah, the rest of it, yeah. Um, I always laugh at the scene where Bullseye's on the plane and that old lady's talking his ear off, and he's just like he's about to lose his shit. He just, that's funny. I feel like that's something they could do nowadays in a Daredevil movie, but I feel like if they did that, people would get offended that they're killing the old lady. I don't know. But yeah, that's how I feel about that movie.
Good answer. We're on the same
You,
page.
you do you agree with most of that or all of that?
Yeah, if you can't see it from the camera, but there's a hole in Daredevil's head
Yeah,
in my
I
poster.
got there.
Oh, like the
'Cause-
indentation.
because Ryan shot it with an airsoft gun. Because Ryan hates Daredevil.
I don't hate Daredevil.
Oh,
I don't
He
like
hates
that Daredevil. I love
Okay.
the show to death, but it's not my favorite movie. I'll give you credit. The suit is not bad. The suit has grown on me.
It's a make
Suit-
You have to look
Yeah.
at it on every episode.
Yeah. I feel like
Oh,
every time I
dude,
see it on
and
the
like-
poster, it looks darker. But when I see it in like the actual movie, it's pretty nice. But I still
Yeah,
love
yeah.
the Charlie Cox suit. I don't know why. I love that show so much, and I really do like that suit. And I get what you're saying. How it has too much black. That's a totally reasonable complaint. But
Yeah, I was like-
never bothered me. I don't know. It's just simple as
Okay.
that. I like it.
Yeah. Again, that just really caught me off guard. And then the actual red. That's like Charlie Cox's is like dried blood. This is like
Mhm.
fresh blood.
This is
like,
like
it-
Cadillac.
It,
Yeah.
This is like Andrew's suit of the Sheen versus Toby's because they're so similar.
Mhm.
Toby's is great, but Andrew's kind of has that shininess,
Yeah.
like a neoprene.
Especially
So it's
the
kind of
first-
like that.
Such
Yeah.
a good movie.
Yeah, but
Hot take.
I don't think so.
Both
well,
of them.
the
sometimes, but-
first one just recently grew on me. I love
the
Yeah.
first one. It's so homemade to me with the eyes. I love it. I know. not
Okay,
lot
yeah.
of people like
A
it.
lot of
Yeah.
people really like the homemade aspect too, and like I like it, but it doesn't mean I will like the suit.
Yeah.
Because when I think of a Spider-Man suit, I think of the most iconic one. That's just me. And like, yeah. But as for Daredevil's suit himself, this version, I like in the scenes where he takes off the gloves and you see him standing there with like it's just a jacket. And the scenes where he unbuckles it, or sometimes he fights with it unbuckled.
It's like
Like
flared.
that, it looks so cool.
So 2000s. It's so
Yeah.
like 2004. Oh my god,
Yeah.
I do love that movie though. Yeah, I will always defend that movie, just like I defend TASM. It's just this kind of
Yeah.
movie.
Okay, all right. I haven't defended Spider-Man 3 because we kind of moved on from it, and I can, but like I thought of Spider-Man 3, kind of a transition here. You're a year younger than me, right?
Yep.
What year were you born? 01?
01.
And then Ryan, what year were you born?
3.
Okay, so 2007, 4, yeah, okay. But I mean, dude, do you remember the hype for Spider-Man 3? Oh,
No.
dude,
The toys. The toys
Dude,
were incredible.
I keep saying that if I could time travel anywhere, it would be back to rewatch Endgame for the first time. Because unfortunately, I didn't have iCloud at the time, so I filled up my storage and I was like, oh, I don't need these clips of a bunch of. So I was like, I deleted it, the crowd reactions. But my movie was actually better than anything that I've seen on the internet, and I wish I saved those videos. Like with the portals, when Black Panther came out and he started chanting, I started chanting along the Ibombe, and then I got the entire theater to start, and like we rumbled. But along with that, if I could try and travel back to any place, is to pre-release Spider-Man 3. Literally, the teaser was the most watched movie trailer in history, and things are different now because everyone has access to YouTube, kind of like inflation with the money making and whatnot.
Yeah,
but
because now you had to go.
like,
Then
I
you
won-
had to like go on your computer and go find it. And it wasn't.
not a lot of kids had access to computers. Not a lot of kids, teenagers, even were able to go on computers. A lot of parents were still not letting them back then. But yeah, like I vividly remember it, and the teaser and the trailer itself, and I remember it playing either on TV or on a screen at the theater or in the actual theater where we watched. The wording was his biggest battle lies within, and then three, and the bass and the venom just hitting. Like I was
Oh,
like, I
when it would
know
do
this
like
is
the
definitely
heavy
gonna be a
bass
big.
leading up. Do you remember that in the
Yeah,
trailer? It did like the bass,
mhm,
black, and it
yeah,
showed him waking up with the black suit. I
oh, yeah.
remember cheering. Did
Like
you have the suit that reversed?
I did.
I
Yeah.
had it too.
Dude, just the fact of how they built that up, where it's his biggest battle, I was like, oh my God. Little me thought this was gonna be it. This was gonna be the end of it. Not the way they did it, but like, you know,
I do love the final battle in 3. I just wish
yeah,
my biggest issue is Topher Grace as Venom. I don't like him as an actor in that.
yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
But like,
hate how much he sees his face. Keep the Venom face.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, as for the hype, like, dude, the Burger King toys were the best in my life that I've ever gotten toys from a franchise. I have them, thank God. I can't find my favorite one because that's the one that I like held on to as a kid. Was the one where he's like squatting, but it's the one where you can put in the freezer and it'll turn into the black suit.
Oh, to the black,
Like
yeah.
I can't find that.
Oh.
But yeah, the hype for it was, in my opinion, better than the hype for an Endgame.
And it's like a different type of hype. Like now, like everyone watches the MCU. Like that's what everyone wants.
Right.
Superheroes, like they're big in 2007, but like Batman Begins had just come
Not
out a year prior. We had X-Men. It was
right.
not Endgame. It was Spider-Man by himself was gonna do this epic movie that was the build up for everything. The black suit and Venom was such a big deal. And then we
Hmm.
saw what we actually got.
Yeah. Like nowadays, hype is not only hype, and it's easier to hype things up nowadays. And like you said, a lot of people watch MCU now, and like everyone's a Marvel nerd. And back then it was different. But yeah, like that's why I'm saying, like, comparing it to now, I think the hype was a lot bigger than Endgame, and I missed that.
I do miss the hype.
Yeah.
I will say No Way Home was probably the greatest theater reaction we've ever been a
Yeah.
part of.
I was just that's why I was on my phone. I was finding the
Yeah,
video that
he
I
had
took.
videos from we went to an opening night in Disney Springs at this. It had three balconies,
Yeah.
three balcony levels, and there was people sitting on
Crazy.
the steps, on the floor.
People in
And
full
the
costume. It was crazy.
the place shook
Yeah.
when Charlie Cox appeared, and Ryan was the loudest person in the entire theater, just on his feet. I jumped and cried when
Dude,
Andrew
I
you're
was
showed
so
up.
happy.
It was insane.
But I have
your
a video
theater
of
sounds.
when Toby came out, and there was a kid, random guy, I had no idea, sitting next to me. And as he was coming up, they were like, oh my God, just the random dude next to me, just like jumping on each other. It was great.
Guys, your theater sounds fucking amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Like when you said people were sitting like even on the steps, like that
People
says
were
it in
sharing
itself.
chairs. It
Yeah.
was. I mean, it was packed.
Was it opening night or day after?
It was opening night.
Was it? Yeah.
Because they had the Thursday screening. We went on a Friday.
Yeah, that's right.
And it just
Wow.
erupted. Like you couldn't hear
Crazy.
the dialogue of Andrew at first. Like
Yeah.
when he first comes through, I had no idea what he said. I just knew it was Andrew and I
Yeah.
was just crying.
They did it on purpose. They know what they're doing, and that's why he was like breathing for a second. They did that in the Flash too. Like I thought it was. We'll not get into that, but like when George Clooney showed up, and he's like, "What's wrong with you?" And then the music swells up, and he literally like looks away and smiles back. That's
That movie
not
sucked.
realistic, but whatever.
Sorry
Anyways,
to,
back
to
to
everyone who
Spider-Man.
liked that movie.
Yeah,
I was a defender of the Flash too, up until it came out.
I wasn't, but I had a lot more fun than I thought I was going to have, actually.
Oh, you liked it more than I did, and I was like
Yeah.
so hype. It's because I'm a big
I also-
Ben Affleck guy. So, and they kind of did
Oh.
his Batman dirty again. They made him very
Yeah,
lighthearted.
that was stupid.
Do him
Oh
dark.
my god.
Let him be badass.
I think I only had really fun with like two scenes. It was the first running scene where he's about to run and then the title cuts off because of the kids. I thought that was creative. And then the whole when he actually stands and then the whole street zooms in.
Yeah,
and then
when
he
it
just
actually
zips
was
and then and then the music that they used, I saw it in IMAX and I was pretty close. So I was like, holy shit, like this is it's super cool. Other than that, yeah, I didn't really like the movie. But yeah, that's a different conversation. Back to Spider-Man.
Yeah, back to Spider-Man. Yeah,
Dude,
no,
yeah, No Way Home, your theater, My theater was IMAX also, and I think it was my auntie that chose it, which I get her intentions, but unfortunately, the IMAX doesn't sit as many people, so we didn't have the loudest crowd, which I wanted. Um, my local theater actually were friends with the manager. He's known me since I was a baby. They had me as Spider-Man Friday, Saturday, and maybe Sunday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They let me in the lobby stand and take pictures, and it was like freaking Disneyland, dude. You know, where people are crowding Spider-Man to take pictures. But it was worse because they were planning to have a worker kind of manage the line for me. But dude, it was opening of No Way Home. They weren't gonna have
There's no
anyone.
controlling that.
Yeah. So there was no one there, and it was like my friends trying to take pictures for me, but act like they're not with me because I haven't done my face reveal yet. Or did I? 2021. No, I didn't yet. Yeah, I did my face reveal May 2022. So yeah, I was trying to, make sure no one was like with me. But yeah, it was so hard to control that. I'll post about it too when this podcast releases. It's funny, but yeah, our theater wasn't the loudest. A couple rows back, we did have the wrestling Spider-Man from Toby's first one with the shirt and the mask. I thought that was funny. I had that shirt too, but yeah.
Yeah, we didn't dress up for ours. We just
No.
went, but
Mhm.
I'd never seen people dress up in a movie before.
Yeah.
And it was everyone.
Yeah.
It was just in full
Mhm.
Yeah, it
costume.
wasn't like the kids. It was like everybody.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah, like couples were like Spider-Man and Gwen. And I was like, God damn it. But
I wish
yeah,
I
it
went
was
to
an
your guys'
incredible
theater.
experience.
And then
Yeah.
when he catches MJ, I mean the cheers that came. I mean, it was dead silent when she's falling and he's reaching, and I was like, he's got to catch her, right? And he catches
Right.
her and lands. I
Like
was
we
like,
all knew.
yes!
Did you imagine
Yeah.
he didn't catch her and he's like,
Again.
Peter won? My bad.
Okay. As for that scene, like people were cheering right away because we all knew. We all knew.
Yeah.
Like before he even jumped off the ledge, we all knew. But I think I just thought about it a few days ago. We all know the CGI was rushed, and Toby's mask looks weird.
Yeah.
I think Andrew's mask looks weird. It looks better, but I
Better
can
than
tell
Toby.
when he takes off his mask that the red of it is different.
Mhm.
The CGI for Toby's mask, I don't know if a lot of people noticed, but the CGI for Andrew's body, because it's not most scenes, it's a lot of scenes, like the one where he's webbing the lizard to the metal. When you pause it, his shoulders are super flexed, his biceps and triceps are swelling, but it's like his armpits dip up and his waist is like this, and it looks so weird.
It's like when they all run and jump together. The CGI of them running
they're
really goofy.
yeah, you can tell they definitely use like Blender or something. They all run the same.
Yeah.
So weird.
And when he lands, when he catches MJ and lands, that looks weird.
Oh, no, that's
Yeah.
what I was gonna say. So that whole scene with the CGI, he jumped and then it cuts to CGI. Dude, like that was way too rushed for me. Like they put it in slow motion, but that was the fastest slow motion I've ever seen.
I wanted something like a little snippet of Gwen, like see something in his glass again. I just wanted some, but he
Like-
didn't have the mask on.
I know, I knew they weren't gonna do that, but and it's fine that they didn't do that. But that it was way too. It was the fastest slow motion I've ever seen. I didn't get to hold my breath. I was just starting to cheer by the time he caught her, and then like you said, when he caught her, it was super fast. They bounce really weird. I could see the CGI face change because that's not actually him.
Yeah, it's
that's
William, who we had on the
yeah.
show a couple months ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's
Him and I have been meaning to collab for like over a year now. We were supposed to collab to promote No Way Home, actually.
He's
I've been
dope.
friends with him for a
He
while.
was a great guy.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
But yeah, because we all know that's him, and then it switches to Andrew. They're like,
Because there's picture. He's posted the picture of him holding MJ stuff. Up.
yeah. I really can't get over that scene. And in the beginning, which I don't know if you guys noticed, I don't know if anyone noticed, when the whole thing blows up and they kind of like jump out of the way. When Tom
How did he get
jumps
upside
for
down?
MJ. What the hell is he doing there?
I thought
He's
about
just
that.
ready to launch. Like what? He's at the
I'm like,
bottom of the
and then you
grades.
start going like,
Oh yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like no
Smell it,
Spider-Man
well,
movie has
like,
ever done that.
fuck off. I don't care. I just want to see Andrew come flying down and make the catch. He brought me so much joy. I was just so happy. Just redemption.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That can't be the end.
Yeah.
And he said in a recent interview, he's like, there's more story to tell now. And that was the first time he's ever been like straightforward about it.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, he's like, there's more story to tell. And I was like, yo, how's this not like everywhere? It was on like every Spider-Man page. I
Yeah.
No, he loves playing Spider-Man. Sony loves making money. It's literally just a matter of who writes the script first and who gets the direct. Like, it's gonna happen. Everybody knows it's gonna happen.
Why is
but-
Avi Arad still working on this shit?
Yeah,
I have no
he
idea.
shouldn't be. Just sell
Why
it.
is he
makes
still in
so
the
much.
Sony stuff?
Jeremy, you should go to Sony headquarters and tell them this. Just dress up as Spider-Man and just go tell Avi that he's ruined your career.
My career.
Fucking hell, Avi. What the hell?
Like, if Avi Arad or if Sony fucking called me, because they're casting so many influencers nowadays. If they called me and they were like, "Hey, we saw your idea. We want to make Ned Leeds a Spider-Man, and it's a Sony thing," and then Avi Arad is the one that came up with the idea, I'm like, I don't think I would. Okay,
I'm
maybe
good.
I would, but I would be super hesitant to take it.
I would be like, can you show me what you wrote? I need to read this script before.
Yeah,
And be like,
Well, I
there's no
agree with
changes,
this.
right? Like, we're not going to go into
Right.
post and then you guys like, oh, we're refilming.
like I need you to sign that if it changes, because it probably will, that it won't be Avi doing it.
Yeah. Bring Mark
That'll
Webb
be-
on. Let him make the
Yeah.
changes this time.
Yeah, dude. Imagine if they, which they probably are, bringing back Toby and Andrew if Mark Webb somehow comes back. Because I
love
heard
this.
that Sam
He makes
Raimi is
so
coming
much
back.
practical filmmaking. And it's
Mhm.
so well, like, the whole swing scene underneath the bridge in TASM 1 when he's running from the cops
Yeah.
is one of the
Oh.
coolest scenes. And that it's all real. That was like a cool thing I got to talk to William Spencer about because that was him doing the swinging. And he's like, it was an awesome moment to like actually get to
Yeah.
meet Spider-Man.
Every time I see the behind the scenes, it's so cool.
And you know the shot
Um,
in TASM 2 when he's watching Gwen go into the coffee shop? He's like perched.
Yeah.
So Andrew was, I was watching like a whole thing about they let Andrew do that shot, but that's like a big deal. Let your actor go up on a really tall building. Like the amount of there's like 8 different wire sets connected to him. I was like, they were like, Andrew, just don't lean, just sit right where you are, don't move. But yeah, I love them. I love that movie. I
Yeah.
love Mark Webb. I think he's a good director. I love his other movies outside of just Spider-Man. So I would really like to see him come back and get a fair shot at
Yeah.
doing his story.
Yeah, I like his style of the practicality, but even when it comes to the CGI, they tried so hard to make it as practical as possible. Like, I don't know if you've seen the clip, but the opening skydiving scene, the camera work, they had an actual camera guy shake and like move with it. Like that's not a CGI camera.
Yeah.
I was like, that's really cool too. And the whole GoPro shot with it on his chest,
When
like
he's
that's cool
swinging
too.
in the such a goddamn good.
All right. I guess. Fuck, I don't know if I should say this. No, okay, I won't say it. But I will say this for our movie. Like,
Whoa,
we're
whoa,
gonna.
whoa, whoa. Now I want to know.
Now you gotta
can't-
say it.
You
Come
can't
on, you
go,
can't tease it.
I should say no. It's not fair, Jeremy.
All right. Well, all
spent
right.
these 2
Can I
hours.
tell you guys? But can you cut this part out?
Oh no, we'll wait after. We're not good at cutting.
Okay.
Tell us
All right,
after the
all right.
episode.
It might slip in there or show up. Okay, I'll tell you guys after. But so what I will say for our movie is that I don't know how many swinging scenes we'll have, but we're gonna take inspiration from the best part of every single Spider-Man. And yes, like think about that again. I'm not gonna say anything further than that. Every single Spider-Man that we've seen. And then we're gonna add a little bit of my own style in there. So yeah. Like Lotus was freaking cool.
Yeah.
Like that was cool. But yeah. My turn.
I liked your how you. I like how you handled. I saw how many people were asking about Lotus, and you handled it perfectly. Just being like, "Hey, like what they did was great. Like they made their thing," and you were very positive about. While so many other people were just like, "I'm not gonna say anything bad about the movie. They made a Spider-Man movie. Like that's something I wish I could do." So
Yeah.
I think the way you handled it, I thought was great. being very just
Yeah.
kind about it, because that's what Instagram and all that's for, like networking. Like we got to go see the movie, which was cool. Like I didn't expect to watch in the theater, so I thought you
Mhm.
handled it really well. So
Thank you. Yeah, I think so too. And I was really scared too. And um, my initial thought or decision was that I wasn't going to at all, that I wasn't going to address it. But like, I feel like we need to address mistakes. But you saw that at the same time, I'm like, I don't know everything. You don't know everything.
yeah,
Your initial thought about this person is not like, if you were to judge me for my one mistake from when I was younger, I wouldn't want to know you, be friends with you. I'd like, that's not how you judge people. My whole thing was like, you know, everything's been good since that I've seen.
yeah.
It
Like
seems like they're
there's
not
been
like that
little things,
anymore.
but Warden's been super cool. I've continued talking to Warden outside of
Mm-hmm.
that event, and
Mm-hmm.
they were both kind enough to come on the show before we went out to LA, and invited us to go out
Mm-hmm.
with them and film some
Yeah.
cool content while we were there. So I
Mm-hmm.
have nothing
And
bad to
like,
say. People make mistakes. I've made plenty of my own mistakes. And Ryan
mm-hmm.
has knows me my entire life. Everyone makes them,
Yeah.
so I'm not going to judge someone. I know
Yeah.
people are very outspoken about how they feel about people, but if you don't know
Yeah,
them
nowadays,
personally,
yeah.
people make mistakes. People say
Yeah.
stupid things that they don't mean now when they.
Right.
Did anyone here playing a Modern Warfare 2 chat when you were like 10 years old? You don't want those released, do you? Because
Right. That's what exactly. Not only were you an ignorant kid once, but going back 2 years ago, 3 years ago, even 5 years ago, not even longer than that, but times were different. It's different now. And um, me personally, I grew up with a lot of jokes. I grew up with a lot of racist jokes that I was included in, like at me, and I never got offended. Like it was part of it, it was a joke, you know? Like
yeah,
people
like
get
that.
offended in comedy clubs nowadays.
So dumb. And
Yeah.
that's the weird thing with doing. Now we have an editor of the show, but me and Ryan, I I we're very kind-hearted people. We don't try and offend people, but there's been a couple
Yeah.
times where we've said things and then Spotify like takes it down. I'm like, I didn't even know what I said was bad. Like,
Yeah.
so you have to be
Oh
so
wow.
careful now. And I know that there's bad words out there that you're not supposed to say, but then there's some like the F word, the like fuck.
Yeah.
Don't need people think I'm saying the other word. That's a no. That gets people annoyed that we even say that sometimes. So I,
Hmm.
I
Okay.
don't
Interesting.
know.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that's the whole Lotus thing. I made the last minute decision to address it, not only because it kept popping up in my comments, but I if I didn't address it, I probably wouldn't. I probably would have been spoken about horribly on other people's stories, and then it would be harder to defend myself, or I would have to defend myself in general. Plus, I did want to post about like pictures. Sure, yeah, I'm sure you guys have seen my pictures from the carpet. Like, I was excited for that.
Yo, those
Um,
pictures were cool.
yeah.
I liked when you guys did the point. I was like, that's a cool picture. I can't even be mad
Oh
about
yeah, I'm surprised I didn't see anyone else do that. But I'm like, all right, there's
it.
literally
You guys
three
are Spider
Spider-Men
Man. That's
here.
not fair.
Yeah.
There was another Spider-Man. There were like a couple other ones there. They didn't do that. But
Really? I only knew you
yeah,
and Warden were gonna be there.
there was a Miles Morales one. There was I don't even remember what type of suit it was, but it was like I think it was darker, like a damaged suit. I don't remember the third one. The third one was like an even cheaper suit, I think. But yeah, there were like other Spider-Man there, a couple. But again, I didn't never saw it. I'm glad I'm the only one that did though.
Yeah, no,
um,
it was a cool post. And I
yeah.
said this already. When you walk, because we were talking to Warden, and I saw you, and I
Mhm.
was like, is he coming up to us? I was like, holy shit, he is coming up to us. And then you were like, hi. And then you shook my hand. I was like, hi, I'm Tommy. You're like, I'm International Spider-Man. I was like, I fucking knew it. So yeah.
Yeah, that I'm really glad that I got a picture with the main cast, because that clip of all of us, I think that's sick. And Mariah specifically, like she asked me to send her some of my videos, and she was like, "You look like you belong there." Like, I'm excited to see your movie. I'm like, thank you. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
Yeah.
that was really cool. And then my date said the same thing too, and she knows about my movie, and I tell her all about it, you know, and she's like, "You really look like you're in your element there, and I'm excited for yours." And she's like, "No matter what happens between us, I don't care. I want an invite, you know."
oh,
So
that's so
yeah,
nice.
yeah, I'm really excited for that.
We don't even
But
want to
yeah,
watch our movie.
huh?
We don't want to watch
I don't want to
ours.
see it.
We're very
Really?
hesitant about what. I think it's more like it's first off to me at least. It's lay a real day I had.
Yeah.
That I
Mm,
therapeutically was told to write about, and I did.
got it.
And Ryan, being the best friend I could ask for, made it into a really good script that I could not have done. And so watching it and me, I wasn't gonna play the character because I was like, that's
Uh,
too on the nose if I'm playing myself. But then it eventually got to the point where me and Ryan were talking. Ryan was like, he's like, you should play it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And then we held auditions for the girl. We ended up getting a really good actress to play my other best friend, because Ryan, I didn't tell him till later about all that stuff I was going through. But
yeah.
yeah, so I think it's a little bit like we wrote it. I have to watch myself act now in it.
Yeah.
So it's like that weird, like, I
Yeah.
don't want to watch it. So maybe I'll send it to you and you can just give us honest reviews and be like, yo,
Sure,
you're,
yeah.
you're like, yo, don't put this out there. This is horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure. I would love to. Now that you say that, though, that's another thing. Okay. For everyone watching and for everyone like waiting for my movie to not only come out, but just for us to release information about the movie, whether you're waiting because you're excited or you're waiting to like bash my movie, I originally was gonna cast a Peter Parker and do our own same storyline, but I was like, okay, come on, like now Spider-Man, because I thought about this years ago, and then I heard about Spider-Man Lotus, and I'm like, oh great, I'm like, okay, another Spider-Man fan film. So how do I make it more original? But then as I slowly talked about it with my followers, like on my private story or whatever, a lot of people were like, this is your story, not just it's a suicide prevention story. This is your story, and this is a movie essentially for your fans. We know you as Spider-Man. We want to see you as Spider-Man. And I was like, wow, I didn't know people would care that much to want me in the movie. But I was like, okay, like I don't want to. Have you seen Spider-Man Cake Day?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know why they casted that guy, like for whatever, but I was like, I don't want to like cast myself as Spider-Man just because, like, and be Peter Parker. And then I was like, I got it. There's like little to no Asian American representation just more recently. There's very little to no representation about Filipino Americans. And if they are, they're always either just changed up or they don't even talk about that they're Filipino. And I'm really glad that they did it with Ned because they didn't do it in the first movie or the second movie. I'm so glad they did it in No Way Home, and me and along of the other Filipinos in the theater were fucking laughing so hard about it. Yeah, I'm so glad that they did that, and it wasn't intrusive, and it wasn't like other. You know how they're changing they're race swapping a lot of characters now, and they're focusing on cultural aspects and like feminism with the whole superhero thing too. Like I'm all for it, but every single one of them has been shoved down our throats. Like it almost feels like they're doing it just to satisfy us, not because they genuinely care. I don't know, but like the whole you know, in Endgame when all the girls stood together and she was like, she's not alone. I feel like that was kind of shoving it down our throat. And if you need to mention it, then it's kind of
Let it
it
happen.
didn't
Let
come.
them all fight
Yeah,
together. That's still cool. You don't need that
it's
line of dialogue.
yeah. The more you mention it, the more ironic it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, it didn't feel that way for me with the whole Filipino thing. Maybe it felt like that to other people, but the fact that she spoke Tagalog, and it's funny that no one else could understand because they didn't even use subtitles.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
didn't. I didn't know what they said.
Yeah, I don't speak Tagalog, so I didn't know. My grandma had to be like, "Oh, she's saying this." And for any other Filipinos watching, if you're younger and you do speak Tagalog, let me know because my grandparents and my parents were like, She was speaking Tagalog really slowly, and it sounded really weird. I don't understand it, so I don't know. I could see in some parts where she did, but I'm like, maybe the directors were like, okay, let's do this take again, but slow it down a little bit so the Filipinos can understand you. I don't know. Because Tagalog sounds like Spanish a lot, and even if you speak Spanish, like it could be super fast. So maybe she was just nervous. I don't know. This is literally her first role. Um, I'm just really glad that they did that. And for my movie, yeah, we're gonna touch up on that too, because that's when I decided, holy crap, okay, let's make this a multiverse thing, which everyone, we are already familiar with. Our version will be Ned Leeds, and yeah, he's gonna be a Filipino Spider-Man in this universe. And um, there were a couple things that I wanted to do specifically. I don't know if I should mention now or at the end, so that way you can cut it. Probably cut it later, I guess.
We'll stop the recording so you can tell us this stuff.
Okay, yeah. All right, let me note that down then, what I want to say. But yeah, so yeah, that's how we're gonna go about my movie.
I'm ecstatic. I'm so excited just because I love the whole idea of it focusing on the mental health and all that kind of stuff. Because even if we don't really mention it in Spider-Man, Spider-Man definitely goes through this on his own at the same time. Like, as much as this is your story, which I'm not taking away from that, I'm saying,
yeah,
Spider-Man also goes through all that kind of stuff, and it's not ever talked about.
Yeah. Spider-Man's always been the superhero who just always has a shitty ending. You know what I mean? Like,
can't catch a break.
Yeah, exactly. Like you look at the end of the first Tobey movie, he ends with his breaking up with his girlfriend, and then his best friend hates his guts because he killed his dad. Like, there's never a happy ending for Spider-Man.
And then the entire second movie is that, which is also why it's like so accurate. But yeah, it's
The goblin scene just happened that made me skeeve.
I know, I'm looking.
It's when his shoulders move. It freaks me out.
Oh, the shoulder blades?
The shoulder thing. Oh, I don't like that.
And then they add like the sound effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, I turned away just as everyone was talking. I looked away. And I don't like it.
Right, yeah.
It freaks me out.
Even though they did have to tone down this scene, this still kind of freaked me out in the theater.
It's a good. They said that was the feeling for the whole movie, was supposed to be like that. It was supposed to feel like a horror movie, like how scary Electro can be, because there is no really fighting Electro.
Yeah.
And then they kind of went away from that and went the more MCU route.
Yeah, interesting. I like how they did better with Electro in No Way Home.
Yes.
They did way better. Yeah. Just Jamie Foxx the way he is.
I hate him in this. He's just not as good.
Yeah. Jamie Foxx the way he is, and then the yellow instead of the blue. And then the whole like construction jacket. I thought that was sick.
It was
the right colors, and it's the fact that it's like right there. Some people can be like, oh, that's lazy, but no, I think that's cool.
Yeah.
It's a shed. It's just going to have that kind of stuff, especially if they're working with power lines and everything at night. Kind of makes sense.
Like I said, it goes with the colors too. And the only thing that like, I don't know if it's a huge thing, but like, the arc reactor was, he was powered by the arc reactor, and then Dr. Octopus got a hold of it, and he said his famous line again. Now that I think about it though, like, did they need the arc reactor? Probably not, huh?
No.
And actually, wait a second. Where the hell did the arc reactor... Did the arc reactor go back to the other universe with Dr. Octopus? He was holding it.
How did the arc reactor? Did someone take it?
See?
No one took it from him, right? Well, that man stuffed that in his pocket and left.
Oh my god.
That man's about to be so smart in 2004. That man's about to make $1 billion.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
He's pretending to be good at the end, and he's like,
he just goes back and beats up Toby now.
Dude. All right, yeah, you guys have to post that part and like make it a short clip somehow, because I want to see what everyone else has to say.
Power of two suns in the palm of
you
my
can title
hand.
like that.
Hands.
Oh god, man! I can't believe I just realized that now. That's crazy. What the heck?
Another great scene on the TV right now.
Oh, okay. I'll go through this quickly, but again, I grew up without my dad. I grew up an only child, so I grew up very lonely. Um,
Oh.
and something was instilled in me a long time ago that like I wanted to find my person in life. I literally already have plans about how I'm gonna propose and how like what I want in our wedding. There's like certain things that I want to do. Um, damn, I can't believe I'm saying it publicly, and I hope no one does it. I mean, I want to share it. It's a cool idea, and I really hope no one does it. But if anyone does, this will be on the record that I said it first. I would still
There'll be
hate to
proof.
see
There'll be
it.
proof here.
Yeah, I would just still hate to see it happen. That whole scene where he spells out "I love you" on the bridge, like I want to do that and make that our proposal. Like,
That'd be pretty dope.
That'd be nice.
right? Yeah.
Damn, you got a
Yeah.
lucky wife. I'm just gonna walk down the street and be like, hey, guess what? Wedding.
Guess what? Wedding.
Guess what? We're in debt.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge grand gesture guy. For anyone that knows How I Met Your Mother, I'm a Ted Mosby. That's how I
Oh
am.
no, naturally I am too. I just
Yeah.
don't have the pocket change right now to be Ted Mosbying it. I also need a girlfriend before I
Yeah.
can Ted Mosby her.
That's gonna be super expensive, man, for me to do. Oh, whatever.
No, you're
We'll
just gonna
get to
get
it when
cast.
we
You're
get
gonna
to
get cast in a Spider-Man movie. You make a lot of money. You're gonna hire us to work on your movies. we're gonna make a nice solid amount of money.
harsh working conditions.
You're like, okay, guys, you need to film 6 podcasts a day. I will be your guest, and we'll just talk about my life. Okay.
And they all need to be edited by the end of the day.
Oh, we'll send to our other guy. We won't do it. We have a guy who's
honestly,
working
like-
more.
Right. Honestly, like if something like that happens in the future where you do need to make that mini podcast, like I'm sure the whole AI editing will definitely help out a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
mean,
we
I'm
will
not
be relying.
I'm not all for AI taking over work, but for my own things, if I had my own podcast to edit, because I don't have money to outsource, like, yeah, I'll do the auto podcast for sure.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you don't have a podcast.
I literally have, well, it's because I really wanted the in-person to have a podcast. Like, I really love that aspect, and I really I want to decorate my set. And yeah, I mean, if I do it like this, I've been on another one, Foggy Pancakes. Shout out to them. I don't know. I never thought about it, and I don't have money to outsource. I struggle with my own editing. There's a lot of content that I have to post this month, and I'm just like, I have so much going on. I also have ADHD. For anyone watching, you know how it is getting shit done. So,
I'm following you.
oh, okay. That's another thing about our movie. It's not just gonna be about wanting to take your own life with being depressed. We're gonna talk about, again, the characters that have their own issues. They'll all be unique mental health illnesses that people have, and I guess I could say this publicly that we were considering Spider-Man having ADHD also, but I don't want to pack everything into it, so we probably won't do that. I don't think it'll help the story either.
I think
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield's has ADHD.
He might.
Possibly.
He is so jittery.
You could tell, yeah, the jitteriness, the hyperfixation when he's creating, and the whole web scene where he's fixing the web shooter. He has that hyper focus. When he's talking as Spider-Man, yeah, I see
He
it.
might have. This isn't
A lot of people say that Tom's probably has ADHD, but I don't know. Maybe they just make him childish, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't see it. I think it's just the childishness there, you know.
Yeah, because I feel like with Andrews, this is probably the last point about Andrew specific I'm going to make is that this is just my opinion. No one get mad at me. Not trying to aggravate any fans out there. The reason why Andrew is my Spider-Man is one, because I grew up on him, and the way he's able to show his emotions with just the plain eyes and the way he moves, his hand motions, the way he moves his head when he's just annoyed and trying to. It's coming up on the screen behind Jeremy. Is when he's telling Gwen she can't be there, and he's like moving his arms. He's like, "You can't be here," and he gets every emotion across. While Tom,
Love that.
I don't think Tom's not a bad actor. He does have the eyes that move, which do help him with some of the performance stuff. Not saying what he does a lot of his stunts and stuff, so he is great.
Yeah.
But Andrew has to show off those emotions so much.
He does that so well.
Yeah.
And that's kind of back to my point earlier. That's kind of where Tobey was lacking. Like literally, I'm just imagining the scene right now in Spider-Man 3 where he jumps into the car and he's like, calm down, tough guy. Like he's literally standing still. Like I can't tell if he's actually talking or if it was just a voiceover, you know?
He always does this. He like stands and just lands.
Yeah.
Could also be the suit's
think-
probably older.
Yeah, definitely. Harder to
Just
move in.
every part of your body hurts. I love
Right,
that line.
yeah.
He just,
I love
he's like,
that, yeah.
just your
And
organs.
when he
your
talks to
bones.
himself too.
I love this part when he
Like-
plays Itsy Bitsy Spider. I know not everyone. I like
He's
it.
like, I hate this song.
I hate this song and just gets smoked.
I
I
thought
love
that
this
was so cheesy, but I thought that was funny. And
Yeah,
then
it's like
I
a
didn't think
Spider-Man
about it
cheesiness.
being I didn't think about it being a whole dubstep thing until people mentioned it.
Boom. Hans Zimmer,
But yeah,
Hans
him-
Zimmer went for it with his score.
Oh
He's
yeah.
Oh,
like, you want
hell
to do
yeah.
the craziest thing I've ever done.
Dude, like, if anything, I hope everyone agrees that the fucking score for this movie is amazing. No pun intended.
I'm not gonna lie, I might play it at the end of our video for this. It might play at
Oh,
the end.
yeah, that'd be good. Like a
If
good
I- if
outro,
Colin
yeah.
Put it in for us.
Right here. It's
Yeah,
literally
there it is. What are you doing?
He's frustrated. He's literally using his legs to kind of kick the air,
You can't be here.
shaking
Right
his head. Yeah. Honestly, it kind of with the Amazing Spider-Man 1, it kind of weirded me out at first. And my dad is still weirded out by it because he's not really a movie guy, let alone a Spider-Man movie guy. But yeah, when it first came out, I was like, he needs to chill a little bit. But no, I like it now. But like I remember the car scene where the guy he breaks into the car and he's just
That's
like,
one of the best scenes. I love it. Small knives. My weakness, small knives. Yeah, is that a
and
knife?
or even before they get out of the car, where he's just like, where he's like, "Are you a cop?" He's like, "Seriously, seriously, think I'm a cop? Cop, skin tight, red and blue suit." Like he was really shaking his head, and I like, in the trailer they showed a clip of that, and that really caught me off guard for a second. But yeah, no, I like it. I really do.
And then he's like, keeps webbing the door, and he's like, the window? Yeah, here's the window. Yeah, I love those.
Dude,
this whole fight is
when
so
you said
well.
sequence, there's no, in my opinion, there's no bad CGI during that part.
And that actual set is a lot. So a lot of those beams are really there because there's, the shot when you first hear Goblin laugh after and he comes
Mhm.
flying in.
Yeah.
So that was
Mhm.
him on like a roller coaster thing coming through.
Oh shit, I
It
didn't
was
know
all
that.
It's crazy. It's one of the. I think it's one of the biggest superhero sets. Is like the whole grids area they made. It's pretty cool.
This whole
That's
movie
really
was all
cool.
sets. Like they basically remade
Times
a lot
Square.
of
Yeah.
Times Square, but
Times
also
Square.
other parts of New York. Yeah.
Even though the
Crazy. Yeah, it's
final
really
shot
cool.
with Rhino is the real street, they shut it down to try and get that.
Right,
Shit.
dude, that's insane.
Yeah, they went for it on
That
that.
yeah, that's another thing about Tom Holland's movies. They're
So
getting
much
less
CGI.
believable because
Yeah.
it's all CGI. Literally, and I get like No Way Home, it was like during COVID, so I get the whole like Bleecker Street, Doctor Strange, and like you could see people in the background. Everything is CGI. I mean,
Yep.
that one part where they're at is not, but it's covered in CGI. So what's the
Mhm.
point? His suit
Yeah, it's just the
is
door and
practical.
steps.
It's beautiful. Yeah, and his suit is also beautiful, also covered in CGI. The people walking in the background were CGI. Again, that they were out of focus, so it doesn't matter. But like, it's consistent with Tom's movies. In Far From Home, the fight on the bridge, none of it. It was so fast paced, and none of it felt real because it's just all CGI. And then the moment where he swings because he has a plan, and then he like webs all the drones, and he's kind of like flipping in slow motion. He looks like a Blender figure just rotating in midair. When Andrew does it, he literally like twists his body and like his legs twist into
And
slow
you'll
motion.
see the
like,
suit move with him
Yeah.
the way that your
and
actual
wrinkle,
body and
like yeah.
clothing would move.
Dude, I'm sure Marvel has heard us talk about how the CGI looks way too fake on his suit. Like
Yeah.
in Homecoming, it was a little worse. It looks like his skin. I think it was Far From Home, where he's swinging in his phone. In the trailer, the teaser, he was wearing the Homecoming suit, but in the final cut, it was when he's texting MJ. But when you look at the original version with the Homecoming suit, because of how bad the CGI is, like his wrist is like half his size. Like it's so skinny, and the suit's like there's no thickness at all. It looks like his skin. But yeah, again, the CGI, that could be a whole conversation. That could be a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, Andrew's the suit rippling, when he's falling in the air, when he's twisting, like it all looks believable to me. The parts where I think it's full CGI, it looks real to me. Sam Raimi did good with Toby's, where he would cut back and forth to look like, it blended in. Especially the scene where he's falling, losing his powers, hits the side, falls on the ground. When he gets back up, then it turns to practical. Like, it looks, yeah, he did good with that. Tasm did good with this. Now it's just time for
Tom to,
Yeah.
well, not
Yeah.
Tom's
Like-
fault, Marvel.
yeah, but Tom, yeah, whoever's doing the CGI,
Yeah, because it's not
whoever's
for
rushing
Tom
them to do
Holland,
CGI.
how they filmed them.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And they
Right
have
now.
the
Just-
perfect spot to do it, where they can say like, "Oh, the Stark made suits were so skin tight, but now he just made his own suit." So you have the ability
You're
to say,
right.
"This is looser. Just go for it." It's so easy right now, but
And
well, they
that
do
suit
it.
could end up
Yeah,
being probably the best suit. That
Yeah.
suit's done
I
right.
It
will
looked
say,
amazing. Just that last scene.
and I will probably get a bunch of fire for this from in the comments. I'll say the first part first. I didn't like the last swing. Didn't like it at all in No Way Home.
It's all
Through the
CGI that
snow.
didn't bother me.
Yeah, I mean, it's all CGI, which again I expected, but that model does not look like Tom at all. It looks like a video game
Yeah.
to me. Like it's because I've also studied him, trying to stand like him. Like, I know his shoulders, I know his posture, I know Andrew's posture because I had to stand differently in the suit when I got it, and that's why it looks weird to me in No Way Home, how he's all like this with his
He's all
shoulders
bunched
rather
up.
than dude, like, Andrew stands with his shoulders down. Like, he has a long neck. And he like tilts his head up a lot too. That's how Andrew stands. Tom like shrugs up. But yeah, the model didn't look like him at all. The swinging was, I don't know if you specifically noticed, but if you look back to when he jumps off and the camera swings with him, every time he changes direction, the camera changes direction, which annoys the hell out of me. I don't feel like I'm swinging with him. The camera's up in the air with him, but I don't feel like I'm swinging with him, and it like I don't get dizzy. But if I could, it would be with that. Yeah, it's literally the opposite direction. And there's this deleted scene. You guys might have seen it, where in Spider-Man 3, he swings in the daytime with his black suit. Have you guys seen that deleted scene? There's a lot of people who were like, what are these physics, where he like, takes the web like this and like spins and like kind of lets it stretch. The camera did a similar thing, where the camera rotates around him when he's doing something. And no one said anything about the last swing, and the last part of it. For everyone watching, I'm sorry, but I really hate the new suit.
I'm not gonna hate on
Maybe
it yet
because
until I see a real version of it.
Yeah.
right, yeah, okay. That's what I was gonna say. I hate it as of now because it's all CGI, and maybe they'll do another Civil War Homecoming thing where it'll look a lot better in Spider-Man 4. But I also hope that the reason why it's so shiny is because it was meant to be made in this, like, for the snow. So I wouldn't mind if they do change it in another one, which they're kind of doing too much, but whatever. Other than it being CGI, I still really hate the suit. Like, I don't like that the blue is so shiny. I don't like the shade of blue. I don't like the logo. It looks like one of the worst concepts for Spider-Man PS4. Like, it looks like, you thought the Homecoming and Far From Home one looked too techie with the hexagon shape. This one is less techie, but more of that. It's like the same person designed it.
Yeah.
And it was probably designed by the same person. And yeah, there's nothing about that new logo that will ever make me draw it, That's how you know the logo is good. In school, I would draw Toby's logo. I would draw Andrew's logo. People get tattoos of Tom, Toby's, and Andrew's logo, but I don't know if anyone will ever get a tattoo of the new logo.
Yeah.
And yeah. I mean, the eyes is like, I guess it's comic accurate, but the fact that it's his own new suit without the Stark technology, it didn't show it moving. But I feel like that would have been a chance to make it a little different too. Less
I hope
childish.
his eyes don't move in the new one. I hope it's just stationary. Make him do his
Yeah, because
Yeah.
when he made his homecoming homemade suit, the eyes didn't move, huh?
They don't move.
Yeah, so
No, Homecoming's.
the
I don't know if
goggles.
they're doing Homecoming.
The
Civil
goggles.
War they
Yeah.
move.
Well, no, yeah. So
Yeah, the
that's the
Stark
Stark
suit
suit. I'm talking
moves,
about the homemade one.
Oh
Do they
yeah,
not
his
move?
goggles.
The goggles. Yeah, they don't move. Yeah.
I thought they did
Yeah, I
for some reason. I could be
No.
completely
I
wrong.
thought
You could be right,
Oh.
but I don't know.
I think it's just the shape where you think it would move.
Yeah, it could just be like my brain getting used to the Stark one. I'm just thinking it does, but I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah.
Jeremy, our
Yeah.
scene's on. God damn. Ryan was pointing at me while you were talking. He's like,
Yeah.
"You see what's happening?"
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah, I mean, Ryan, even though you don't like this movie, I don't know how you feel about this entire scene, but again, the crying is just the most realistic I've seen in a movie.
Ryan's putting up the L sign for Gwen Stacy that she took an L.
Take an L.
See, he just like
He's not gonna bounce back.
he just hyperventilated trying to catch
I
his
know,
breath.
like
crying.
this is how I cry.
Oh no, his crying is great.
And right here.
I just don't care.
he says, "I can't do this without you."
Oh, and he can't. That's why I love the scene No Way Home when he explains how dark he got. Like,
His whole
and then they came out and
face.
said that he became a fuck boy
Yeah.
after Gwen. I was like, why do you need to tell us this? I don't need to know Andrew's out there banging. Like, that's not my. It's not
Yeah.
my business.
Oh God, that scene, man. Yeah.
Um,
And
That's
just seeing
depressing.
Andrew cry is just he's got a good crying face. He's good
Yeah.
at crying. And we all love him with how sweet he is. Like it just makes the experience a lot better.
And I just think, even outside of Spider-Man, he's a incredible actor. Like, it doesn't.
Yeah.
While this, oh, outside of Spider-Man, the other two have had not as strong careers. Toby has definitely had a
Yeah.
couple movies that worked. I went
Yeah,
through Tom
but-
Holland's filmography. You know, he has like one successful critic movie.
Oh yeah, he keeps trying.
He tries. I
Like, he
think he
which
just
one?
works with
Genuinely
the wrong
tries to act.
people.
I don't think.
Which one was it?
Devil All the Time is his. No. Lost City of Z is his best reviewed movie.
Is it really?
Yeah, and that's with Robert
Wait.
Pattinson and Charlie Hunnam. Well, not counting Spider-Man.
Wait, no. The Devil All the Time is the one with Robert Pattinson.
Oh no, he's done two with Pattinson.
Mm-hmm.
Lost City
Oh
he
yeah,
did
yeah.
before Spider-Man.
Yeah. Wait, that's his most. That's his highest reviewed movie.
Crazy. That's highest reviewed.
He has.
I thought-
on Rotten Tomatoes, he has two movies outside of Spider-Man that are above a 60.
Wow.
What's the other one?
Lost City Z and Devil All the Time.
Yeah.
I could have sworn I saw Lost City of Z because that was the one that was delayed too, right?
No, that's What's the one? Are you thinking about the one Channing Tatum? Or
There
am
was
I-
a Channing
there was
Tatum
one-
Tom Holland movie.
Oh no, Tom Holland. No, Lost City of Z came out in like 2014, 2015.
That's the one with Daisy Ridley, right?
No, that's no. What is that?
Oh,
Chaos
that one?
Walking.
Chaos Walking.
Horrible.
That is a
That
crazy
one was-
thing
okay.
that you just said.
That
Because
is crazy that you brought it up.
that is great because when this podcast started, it was an inside joke that we called this the Chaos Walking Podcast because we kept talking about it, but we just never do an episode. So when we finally filmed the first episode and he put it out, I got him a gift. I just went to Target and then bought the DVD of Chaos Walking, and I'm like, Chaos Walking Podcast, we did it, baby.
Oh my
It's
God.
crazy. I haven't thought of that movie
That's
in
what it
2
was.
years.
That was the one that was delayed, right?
Yeah.
like 1,000
Crazy.
times. Yeah,
Yeah.
that went through
I didn't watch it. But
different leads.
Yeah. And it still sucked.
6 different
Whoa.
duos went through it
wow.
because it's not good.
But yeah, to your point, outside of Spider-Man, both Tom and Toby, not so strong. But yeah, in my opinion, even if Andrews hasn't become like a big box office movie outside of Spider-Man, I feel like
Yeah, I
Hacksaw
know.
Ridge is one of my favorite movies. What's it called? Tick Tick Boom.
It's great.
For everyone watching, don't get mad at me, but I don't like musical movies, but I like that movie.
Same with Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same here.
Under the Silver Lake was a weird movie, but like I enjoyed watching Andrew. I think
You
it's
like
because
that
I
movie.
just
It is
like
weird,
Andrew.
though.
Yeah.
Hacksaw Ridge
whole-
is always. Ryan's
Yeah,
browser
Hacksaw Ridge.
preventing recording. No, we're still recording.
No.
We're good. You're not recording.
This
So now it's just me and Jeremy right now without my stupid co-host. Can't refresh your page.
Oh, it doesn't show it on your end?
Yeah, it says. Oh, well.
Oh, yeah, now I
There's
just see
two of
you
us
and
now.
me.
He's coming back. But going into that scene that you're watching, oh, there he goes. To that scene right there,
Back.
I love just because I firmly believe she knows he's Spider-Man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The scene in the room, are you talking about when she says, wait, how does she hint at it in the room? I forgot. No way. Okay. Oh,
Scared the shit out of me.
dude, what if we weren't
God.
recording the last app? Oh my god.
Oh, it's the worst when that happens. We've recorded like hour and a half podcasts.
Damn. Yeah.
We're good.
Okay. The last thing what I was saying was what line did she say when she hinted at knowing? In the Mm.
I didn't hit anything. Not that I know of.
Oh. Yeah. The fact that she wrote it herself. You know what else I love about this Spider-Man? He fucking loves his girlfriend. She's all over his wall.
Yeah.
Their memories and their pictures. She's even on the closet door when you open it. I mean, that's what I do too, honestly. You should put we're having. Wow, it's just me now. What happened?
Yeah, we're
So
good.
just wait here.
That was
Oh,
weird.
there we go.
Is that good?
Yep.
All right, cool.
Okay, there we
Okay.
go.
Oh, you guys switched
Back.
sides.
Yeah, you're in the middle now. That's weird.
Yeah,
No.
this is weird. We all switched spots now on my screen.
She's literally in the closet. The pictures of. Oh wait, it's about to show up. Outside the cafe. The shot. Come on. I think after this. Right there. I don't know if you guys can see from there, but that's her in the
That's her?
the denim shirt with the ponytail.
Oh, with the denim shirt.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because on the behind the scenes, you see her in that denim shirt with her hair coming over her shoulder.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
Why just not have her face the screen? God damn it!
I know, why not?
Mother.
Right? If you're gonna cut it, just at least whatever.
But yeah. Well, for the sake of both this recording not losing what we have done so
Yeah.
far, does anyone have any final thoughts to shout out to everyone about the TASM movies and Spider-Man total?
The Tarzan movies, I will say one of the notes is that I saw Kevin Feige had notes. I don't know if that's real, but if it is, the notes that I saw were really good. He basically fixed the Amazing Spider-Man 2. For anyone that doesn't know what I'm talking about, I'm sure if you look it up on TikTok,
Yeah.
TikTok is a good search engine, you'll be able to find it. Other than that, but yeah, I love Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Hell yeah!
Hate me for it, and I don't care.
Can't say the same, but I'll never knock anybody's love for these movies, besides yours,
Yeah.
of course, because it's
Okay,
funny.
I was
but
gonna say, I was like, I get hated every day for
no,
it.
if anybody truly loves these movies, I'm never gonna yell at you and call you a moron or stupid or anything. Besides Tommy, that's it.
Okay, we're so
But
attacking me.
yeah, no, I think they're both very, very flawed movies with some
Yeah.
very, very great bright spots. So yeah,
Yeah, there you go. That's good. Before we get to you, I feel like when our very last line, we should be like, "I'm Ryan, I'm Tommy, I'm Jeremy, and I love the Amazing Spider-Man." And he cuts in and he's like, "And I hate the Amazing Spider-Man." We'll see you in the next video, the next podcast.
Yo, First off, before we do anything, we will definitely be having you on again if you're down for that. Because I have had,
Yeah.
I mean, we've done one other episode that's been over 2 hours, and we did have a lot of fun. This
Yeah.
was a lot easier 2 hours. Like it was less like having to work. It
Yeah.
was more just having like a really nice conversation.
Well, because that one was
Yeah.
reviewing the entire MCU.
Yeah, that wasn't fun.
We watched every MCU
Oh,
movie in like a
God.
week.
Yeah,
Oh
that
my
was- that
god,
rough.
it was torture.
But yeah,
Jeez.
my last thoughts on the main Spider-Man are that these two movies are iconic, and in my opinion, they are the best portrayal that we've ever had of the iconic web slinger. Andrew Garfield is amazing in these roles. This role, Emma Stone, you're iconic and beautiful, and one of my favorite actresses in the world. And Sally Fields, you're one sexy woman. I love you to death. And yeah, before we.
Did you write all that down?
No, I thought about that.
Oh, it looked like you were reading the screen. I'm like, there's no way he wrote this.
Hey, bro. Hey,
Looking at the screen.
That's
I'm
hilarious.
at home. Telling the people that like
that could
sitting
be
down
one of the
watching
clips,
us.
honestly.
I know. It would have been so funny if you had wrote Sally Fields, you sexy motherfucker. Like,
I didn't say sexy motherfucker.
But really, that
Said
could be one
sexy.
of the clips.
She is.
And no,
I love
honestly,
her,
I-
Charlie. want you to
Tommy,
know.
I'll agree with you. Like, she's a good-looking woman.
She
Like,
is.
you
And
can
she's
go
just
back
like
and
the
look at her
best
like
mom.
younger. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I love those movies. And Jeremy, do you want to tell everyone, even though 2.6 million of them know where you're located, where would everyone else that doesn't follow you yet find you?
Again, my name is Jeremy. I'm mostly known as the International Spider-Man, which, if you search it up, it will pop up. But for whatever reason, you can't find it. I actually had to change my name to Deroma Official, which is my last name, Deroma Official. International Spider-Man is still my display name as far as today. That's why it pops up. But yeah, International Spider-Man or Deroma Official. And I'm excited to be on the podcast again because, I don't know, maybe this is where I'll announce the title of our movie.
Yo, we're getting.
uh-oh.
If everyone's listening, we hit a million. Actually, we're not gonna hit that. If we hit 10,000 followers, we'll have Jeremy on again to announce the title on Instagram. I don't care about all the other apps.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
But yeah, we're
We'll see.
definitely gonna have him on anyway, just for the numbers. But no, this was a lot of fun. I've had an absolute blast. I'm happy I got to rewatch The Amazing Spider-Man's and got to show Ryan how just incredible of a movie The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is.
Try it.
What?
He
Or
showed
in
me.
sequences. He said you tried.
But yeah,
Or it's-
make
it's
sure to continue
sequences.
listening to us on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, anywhere else you find podcasts. Make sure to follow us on TikTok. We don't have 2 million followers, but still come and follow us. We make some funny content, I guess. And where else, Ryan?
For
Or
us?
not. Thank you guys so much for getting us nominated for the People's Choice Awards. We will make sure to check out the stream on September 30th to see if we win. Marvel, you're going down. Your podcast sucks. We're better. Just want you guys to understand that. And yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you all next week.
See ya.